That's right, friends. It's time to cinch up the 5-point and jump right into another episode of Corbetting with Chris.
Man, I think two 50-year-old guys figured out a little technology tonight.
It was tough.
Man. All right, Mr. Mel Wade. I'm pretty stoked to have my friend and mentor over the past few years. I really enjoy our conversations on tonight just to do a little catch up. Not a lot of people know kind of where you came from and, you know, how you got into the business, how you got into the industry. I know that is, it's probably a lot tougher to do today than it was, 30 years ago, but where did you start? I know you're AC certified, I know you're a mechanic, but how did you make that transition? I mean, where'd you start from?
Well, thanks for having me on, Chris. I hope this does very well for you. Like the whole podcast thing. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So good job. Yeah. Good job.
That.
I'm born and raised in North Long Beach. So, right on the border of Compton, not the best of areas, down there, but it was our home. I still have a house there, 2 doors down from where I was born and raised. Really, I liked it. Good, made some good friends around there.
Now, were you right there in South Central, like right in the middle of it growing up?
Not South Central. We were literally Long Beach Freeway. When you cross the freeway, the 710,
like 710,
it goes into Compton.
Yeah,
it goes into Compton right there. So yeah, we're right on the border. They burnt down some liquor stores and stuff back in '92 and
all that Rodney King days.
Yeah. And then we went to Long Beach, Jordan for a little bit, and then swapped over to Lakewood. Graduated out of Lakewood, but that area, born and bred. We've always been in off-roading. My dad worked at the docks, and then
in the port there, in Port of Long Beach.
Yeah. He was a mechanic and a welder, crane mechanic, and built a lot of the first cranes. And they kind of reverse engineered some of the stuff. So, anyways, he was always a welder, always fabricator. We were always welding trailer hitches and stuff. As small as I could hold a flashlight, I was out there helping him. Side money, stuff like that. So that provided the side money, provided motorcycles, so we can go out motorcycling, jeeping, and all the extra activities.
Yeah.
His 40-hour work week or 50 or 60-hour work week went to the household. And then I have 3 sisters, and my mom was able to stay home and raise us. So it was pretty cool. Then everything after hours, rolling up trailer hitches or bumpers or you name it, fences and all kinds of stuff we were doing. That paid for the dirt bikes and the deer hunting and the off-roading stuff.
So your dad was kind of
anyway,
longshoreman then, more or less, right? Or is he?
He was in a machinist union, not the longshoreman union, but working beside them. So he was down there at the Port of Long Beach at Matson container terminal for 20 some years. So that's where we're at over there. And then so we've always been doing it. Always been doing helping him. Didn't really have a choice. It was 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 o'clock. You were inside, since he only worked 10 miles or 15 miles down the road. At 5:15, he was home. So we were in the house at 5:15. And then, if we were good that day, there was no whoopings. If we messed up and mom had to count to 1, that meant 1 whooping, and then he'd hand out the whoopings, and then I'd help him in the garage. So we got the garage from.
He was a pretty strict dad then. He was pretty strict growing up.
Enforcer, but truthfully, if it wasn't, I wouldn't have learned anything. I'll tell you that, man. I would much rather been hanging out, on the street. And but most of those guys
I can't see you as a bad kid per se.
But it was all around us. So everybody either overdosed or got shot, died. So just in our area, there's a few guys that we went to school with, and still buddies to this day. But again, there was definitely different choices in that area, and so my dad chose I didn't have any choice when I was little, so we were working on stuff and then going out motorcycle riding. My dad loved to do. Um, he used to drag race bikes down there. Terminal Island used to be a drag strip down there, Lions drag strips. He always liked that, so we always had dirt bikes too. And so we were dirt biking since I could walk. We had some kind of mini bike and then work our way up. So we were always doing that stuff. The jeeping, he always had a Jeep around, and the jeeping was for deer hunting. So we'd go out hunting, deer, birds, everything else. And so that was the off-road was to actually get to the hunting spot. So we always had something to go four-wheeling. What I remember when we were small, he had the Willys when we were really tiny, but we had an old 72 or 74 CJ7 with a small block Chevy, Dana 44s, limited slip, no lockers at that point, but with a 4-speed. So that was kind of the vehicle that we go everywhere. And basically those days you go hunting is drive up as far as you possibly could till you get stuck, and then we'd hike from there. So we were going out in Utah a lot, Marysville, which is popular now for UTVs. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We were going there since I was tiny, and never quite made it to Moab. I think Richfield was a sign for Moab, and was like, "Oh, that's where they go jeeping out there."
So you're going all the way out there to Utah. Are you guys driving in the Jeep, or are you trailering it out at that time frame?
That time we were flat towing behind a motorhome. So my dad always would get a Class C.
Yep.
It went from vans, Dodge vans. He's always a Dodge guy.
Yeah. My dad was too. My dad loved it.
Yeah. So from Dodge trucks, Dodge vans, and then we Dodge Class C motorhomes. And so that's where we'd. He always liked the small ones, so like 22 foot, the little small motorhomes,
Yep.
and we'd flat tow a Jeep and go hunting out there. So yeah, I've been broke down. We broke down everywhere. Those things are overheating, and voltage regulators. All those Dodges are just always constant working on, and I'm a Dodge guy now to this day. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Say my dad. My dad was so proud when he bought it was like a high top, what I would call the Class B today, right? It was kind of like the Overlandy of the day.
Yeah, the bubble top.
Yeah, high top on it, had a roof mount, early air conditioner. I mean, it was pretty, for the time, state of the art. Little gas propane heater, fridge, the back made it into a bed. But I think he bought that in 82 or so, 81 or 82, and he was pretty proud of that. Bought it at an auction, right? And it was like a bankruptcy or insurance, or not insurance auction. It was like a repossession auction type thing. That's
okay.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I mean, that gave you the bug early on, on the off-road Jeep end of things.
The off-road for sure. I mean, the motorcycle riding, I loved it. We still ride bikes, but the Jeep inside of it, I really got it. I really liked that. It was nice. I liked the camping part of it, and the hunting. Don't get me wrong. I love big animals and all the trophies and everything else, but I enjoyed the off-roading more, off-roading and the camping. And I really realized I like that. My joke is like, we go fishing every day else and I always suck, but it's like, I can go to Red Lobster and I know they got food.
Yeah.
So let's go enjoy the boat ride and have some beers and have a good time.
I can relate a little bit of that as a kid going to, my dad used to take us hunting, my dad and what I call the Uncle Bruce at the time, which was his best friend. And it wasn't, looking back, it wasn't really the hunting as a kid, didn't really enjoy it, but it was just the time out there playing around. And, I think that I look back and I really enjoyed, it was the destination point, right? And the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
The hunting was just a byproduct of it. So.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what got us got me into off-roading. We're always in the desert for dirt bike riding and everything else. So that kind of got me there. And on the mechanic side, I was always, basically forced, so we didn't have a really choice. I'd help my dad after work, and then we'd eat dinner, and then go out after dinner and help out for a little bit, and then about an hour watch TV, and then go to sleep. Go to school next day. Now it's pretty much that way until probably like 13 or 14, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Which again, sometimes I hated it. Sometimes I really enjoyed it. I think I really enjoyed it more than I hated it. But I'm happy we were able to do that. I got my, I traded my dad not traded. I gave my dad $250. He did some trading and traded for a Willys pickup truck.
Nice.
And so 51 Willys pickup truck. So I bought it from him when I was 12 or 13 off of, lawn money and whatever else. We'd always go sell it to swap meets and stuff like that too.
Yep.
So whatever money I had, I bought it from him.
You remember what that thing cost back then? What kind of?
It was probably right about that. I'll tell you the truth, $250, $500 maybe.
Yeah. Nice.
And so got that, but by the time I was 16, was able to get my driver's license. Me and my dad had already put a small block Chevy in it, SP 465 trans, stick shift, Ford Dana 16 rear. We did a closed knuckle Scout front axle on it, 8 lug. So yeah, we had all that by the time I was 16. With 36-inch gumbo mutters back in the day. So that's what I was rolling around when I got my driver's license. Yeah, just shake, rah, 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 all that good stuff. So anyways, I got the bug on the off-roading on that side of it. You're like, oh, this is cool stuff. Not really a big giant industry at that point. 4-wheel parts was still small in Gardena over there.
Yeah.
Dick CPEC was bigger at the time.
Super shops.
Dick and they were all. Yeah. They were all, the Big Dick CPEC store was probably maybe 10 miles, or not even that, 5 miles from the house. And then say they were the original Gardena store was maybe 6-7 miles from there. So we'd go, be able to buy some stuff, not much stuff, save up for like a giant ass Dick CPEC light, something like that. That was kind of cool. You kind of see the off-road industry going. 4-wheel parts just kind of went off the hook and went from the small store they had over there to the first store in Compton and then bigger. So I got to see that. We always had a store called Harvey's Jeep over there in North Long Beach. Huh. And they were always working on Willys. So we were not working on Willys. They had like a good parts that were kind of a junkyard and stuff. So we always went in there. They were always super expensive. And why I'm sharing that is when I flash forward 10, 15 years later, when we decided to have the shop, we were doing kind of high-end buggy services and stuff like that for the high-end sand cars that were out at the time. And my dad's like, you need to focus on Jeep. And I'm like, I want a semi-truck, man. I want to have a race trailer, everything else. And he goes, you'll get it. Remember, Harvey's Jeep always made money. The guy was always super expensive and had a good name and gave service and he always made money. And so I'm like, yeah, but I want a race trailer. I want all that stuff. And then, so we're able to get it out of working on Jeeps and having a good time. So that, like I said, that's fast forward. But again, that kind of stuff where you wouldn't have thought it could happen. And then you you constantly work for it.
Yeah. Where you got the dream, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to you recently, but it was that same scenario where when you were younger, you aspire to have the truck and trailer and the Jeep and the, even an enclosed trailer. I mean, I can remember when I bought my first enclosed trailer, I thought I was living large, right?
I'll tell you about my enclosed trailer. If you see my wrapped EVO enclosed trailer, the 20 foot box trailer.
Yeah.
We got that out of a junkyard. One of my dad's buddies had a junkyard in Wilmington, Ace High, and we cut it off of the back of a bobtail truck, got it out of there. Me, Lisa, my mom, we peeled off the stickers on it and painted it the first time. Put it on a chassis, did it in the driveway. But the funny part about it is, if we ever get an aerial view, if I ever have that trailer out there, get an aerial view, it still has a Salvation Army sticker on top.
Oh, jeez.
It was a donation.
That's funny.
It was a donation truck, so it's wrapped with EVO, but you can still see the thing on top. But all that stuff is we didn't have. I didn't come from money. Came from a good family.
Yeah,
and,
it sounds like you had pretty solid upbringing. I mean, just a good family, good structure.
Work for everything and try to make it work. In our household, it was especially a single person providing for the whole family. There wasn't a whole bunch of stuff. It was kind of a joke. What, are you just going to go to the store and buy it? That kind of when I was raising up, that was how that was said. And I still take that to heart now. It's very fortunate we're doing well, but it's like, you got to make your money last the longest. And that is why we try to make the best products, going forward, try to make the best products we can. I understand how expensive everything is. So you want it to last. So,
Yeah. It's, I think a little bit of fundamental of being younger and being a kid. And if you grow up not having anything, I think you really, it's the hustle, right? It's the being scrappy. It's just trying to, figure out how to get there. I think that could, in a way, a little bit of a lost art with some kids today, but so you're,
you have to want it.
Yeah. I mean, you're how old were you when you got that, the Willies? You were right in there.
12, 13. And then, my girlfriend at the time, I had a girlfriend at 14 or 15. She was selling candy at the school, bootleg candy, and she bought me my first engine core, small block Chevy core, out of the junkyard. Again, our same family friend junkyard. So I got a gift as a core. It was $150 for a small block Chevy core, and that's the motor I put in there. We built that one and put it in. So yeah, again, just trying to make that work. It was fun at the auto shop in high school. When in high school was pretty cool. We ended up making good friends with the auto shop teacher, and he was very, very nice to me. They typical auto shop class, and I excelled in it. It was cool. I knew a lot of the stuff. I didn't necessarily know the different technical procedures or different stuff, but we already had a lot of the. My dad taught me a lot of it, and so he excelled me in the class, and was able to be like a student aide in my senior year and stuff. And he actually got me a scholarship from Caterpillar.
Really? Wow.
Shepherd Caterpillar, local Caterpillar dealership, gave me $10,000 for any kind of schooling or education. And they actually had me up there with the valedictorians and all the high up college guys. They're going to school and getting accredited, and they gave me that scholarship with them. I got to stand up with them.
Mel Wade standing up there in a pair of boots, getting a scholarship.
So it was kind of cool. And then 20 years later, he told me that he told me about the story. He had to fight for it and for industrial arts to be able to stand up there with them. And then he said it was a weird conversation that they didn't want to acknowledge anything out of industrial arts. And wow. He said, well, he said what he told him was, well, it's very valuable. He goes, you don't work on your car. When you have your brakes done, you want them done right? He goes, that's what I'm teaching. I'm teaching the kids how to do stuff proper. And that was kind of what he said was what allowed him for me to be able to stand up with the college kids getting honored.
That's pretty cool. I was very surprised when we went to graduation ceremonies, and Chloe was honored with an award last year, and they had a lot of trades. That's great. Scholarships, like they were acknowledging these kids graduating and welding school type thing within the high school, and getting these like straight intern jobs with big companies or scholarships with big companies. And again, we're kind of in a farming rural community type thing, so maybe that was it. But very, very impressed to see some of that still lives, right? Because
I think you're going to see a swing going back to it. It's people been bred for so long, with that picture of the guy in the college uniform, and then the picture of the guy that's all greasy in a hard hat, and or in a suit, and say, which one do you want to be? Go to school. That was bred. That was shoved down my throat. Basically you're a loser if you don't want to
there's
go to
a
college.
Generational thing, I think, with that, right?
So I think it might be changing now, just because
they haven't met my friends making $250,000 a year as linemen. So
yeah, correct. Hard work pays off still. It's pretty cool. I think Jesse James had a lot to do with that, changing the stigma back with Monster Garage and stuff like that, making it cool. That was I think kind of where I start to see, instead of somebody calling me a grease monkey, like, oh, you can weld too, and whatever else, trying to bridge the gap,
Yeah.
to make conversation was a little bit less looking down upon.
Yeah. So you at what point did it transition? So you get out, you get did you go to work for Caterpillar?
No, I didn't go to work for Caterpillar. What I did was right after the first 2 years, I went. I didn't take. I think I failed Spanish or something. I'm Mexican. I can't speak Spanish, man. I think I took English and Spanish. I think we had to. I failed those, but I took mainly hydraulics, heavy equipment, diesel. Welding, all the welding classes. Didn't get any certs out of one thing, but I took stuff that I wanted to learn and wanted to know. And so that's what I used the scholarship money for, was stuff that I thought I was going to want to do. I knew I was going to be blue collar working. My dad's a welder. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I figured it'd be some kind of heavy equipment, diesel, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I took in Long Beach City College over there. And then I was doing longshoreman as a casual down there also. Went up 2 winters in Montana. Worked as a mechanic up there at the Yellowstone National Park.
Really?
That was a lot of fun. I had a blast. I couldn't drink legally, so it was below 21. Yeah. So had a good time up there. It was great. If anybody is listening to this, the national park systems, they have stuff where you can go for summer jobs or winter jobs. Yeah. And it's pretty neat. So they'll house you, and if you have a trade or a skill, then you do that in the daytime, and then you get to go enjoy the park at night. So it was cool. Did that for a summer, working for the owner that owned all the Curios, the stores in the park. Met him in San Felipe one trip. It was funny. He ended up owning all the stores. He even wanted a summer job coming up, and went up there with him. Worked as a mechanic on the fleet, so they had like 100 or 200 cars that they run out through there. So that's what I did. A lot of fun. Got to do a lot of again, I like being outdoors. So in West Yellowstone, which is beautiful, and wintertime snowmobiling everywhere, and then summertime motorcycling and jeeping. So I had a good time up there. Couldn't really afford nothing up there, so came back down.
Oh.
And so I came. Yeah.
What was the decision there? Why'd you come back? Just any big reason or anything?
Oh yeah, of course. I chased a woman, girl.
See? There's always that.
There's always something.
We're all guilty of that.
Chased a girl over to Oregon, and then it fell through. Came back to Long Beach.
Oh wow!
And then started doing my longshoreman again. Some side jobs again. Funny, I had a Willys pickup truck. One of my Snap-on boxes in here, one of my top boxes will fit perfectly. Not pickup truck, a Willys CJ3 will fit in the back of a Willys. So I rebuilt a tractor for some dude in San Pedro, making some money, and then figured that out. Ended up meeting Lisa, and we started dating pretty heavily.
Now you got to back up. How did you meet Lisa? How does this go down?
Met Lisa out of friends that I've had since junior high school, that have been hanging out with, off-roading and motorcycle riding with, mostly since junior high school. Hanging out with them, Lisa came in on a Thanksgiving. I think it was Thanksgiving dinner. She was in, and she was one of the cousins, and so met through my best friends, one of the cousins, which was Lisa. So we hit it off good.
Well, I mean, how does that happen? What happens there? She shows up, and you're just, hey.
Oh yeah, it was love at first sight and all that good stuff, and we started talking and smiling, and she was a bank manager for what was it, Wells Fargo at the time, or Washington Mutual.
And
turned into Washington Mutual.
And she was from back east, right?
She's from the Midwest.
Okay.
From the Midwest, and she came out to help her aunt out. Her uncle had passed away, and she was helping her aunt out, and that's how she stayed out here longer than she was expecting. And then we met and hit it off good. Got married. I went to
hit it off. What you got? How did you guys date much? I mean, how long did that go on?
Yeah, we didn't date too long. Maybe less than a year, I would imagine. Yeah, I'm kind of impulsive. Yeah, so yeah, yeah. So we got married. Lived with her aunt for like 2 or 3 months. Saved all of our money from the backyard wedding and everything, and put it in on a down payment on a house 2 doors down from my parents. So I literally bought a house with one neighbor in between of where I was born and raised in North Long Beach.
Wow. What year was that? What year was that, you guys? How old were you then?
I don't even know, man. Maybe 23.
Yeah,
24.
Yeah,
no, maybe 22. I don't even know. It was.
I mean, you gauge about you were drinking beer at that time.
So, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When I met her, I was doing side jobs, cleaning boats down there at the docks. We'd get a hookah hose. Basically, had a pimp guy that would pimp us out on the jobs, pay us in cash, and we'd go down there first thing in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, with a scuba mask and a hookah hose, jump in there, scrub the bottom of the boats, and make enough for beer money that night. Take Lisa out. So awesome. Fun times. You learn a lot, and then figured I wanted more. So I got a mechanic job. I was already a mechanic, so I got a full-time job. And then
whereabouts? Where'd you start work?
Signal Hill, a place called Zaharis Automotive, it's a small independent shop. Just him and a helper, and then it was me and him and a helper, and the wife ran the books. I based my companies a lot on what they were doing, and I just got word he passed away like about a month ago, and the daughter reached out to me and said, "Oh, you spoke very highly of you," and I didn't get to make it to the funeral, but yeah, he's a really sharp guy, and a neat family. So I worked for them for a few years. The small mom and pop stuff is tough, and I know it is. I still run the same thing. I think we got married on a Sunday. I was allowed to take Monday off, but I had to get to work on Tuesday. So, and then same thing with the kids. Like the kids, when we had the kids, was when you come back to work. So I got to take like a half a day off and back to work.
He was a driver.
Just different time.
Yeah.
Just a different time, right? And you felt like you needed to too, because the jobs ain't getting done, right?
Yeah,
so you got to get them done. And at those points, again, it was always the jobs I liked, the mechanic jobs. You're splitting the ticket, so you got a percentage of the ticket. So it worked out well. If you're a hustler and you're moving and shaking, not messing around, you can make some money.
Was it like a flat rate on the ticket?
Yeah, flat rate, like 40% of the labor, and then I think it was like 10% on the parts.
Nice.
So you wanted to get the job in, get the job out. If you weren't working, you weren't making no money.
Yeah.
So that's how that was, and then we were able to get Lisa to stay home after Melvin was born. We got her to stay home with Harley, and so she had to go back to work on that. And we ended up when the kids were born, I went ahead and started. Snap-on used to have some training programs for ASCs, so I went and got all my ASCs, my California smog license, and all that good stuff.
Nice, got your smog license.
Was always
nice.
I was always buying tools and stuff, and I was able to apply, and I got hired on at the Saturn dealership, which is Saturn was a small niche company, kind of cool. They kind of took all the Japanese ideas and quality and stuff like that and put it in a U.S. car company. It was a kind of really neat experiment is what it was.
And was it a standalone, separate of a GM dealership? It was full standalone?
Yeah, it absolutely was. It was 100% standalone, and then that's kind of when I left, was 2002. 3 time frame, and that's when they had just merged it all together, and then they ended up killing the brand later. But it was when it was standalone, it was pretty neat. They actually sent me as a tech to Tennessee to the plant to go for 2 weeks to get trained from the engineers and stuff at the plant, which is freaking awesome.
That's cool.
You just don't see that. So they really cared about quality. believe it or not, they taught about branding. They taught a mechanic. They'd buy lunch for us every Thursday, and it was pretty cool. They would actually like got a whole bunch of mechanics eating lunch, and the Kurt Benson brought down a picture of McDonald's logo, and then picture of a Disney logo, and picture of this, and how does this make you feel, and how does this make you feel, and then some shitty logo, maybe a company's out of business now. How does this make you feel? And I'm getting lessons in branding at a mandatory or volunteer lunch dinner.
What was the
at a
strategy?
mechanic
Just
shop.
to bring you guys together as a team?
The strategy was everybody represents you, and
So you as a mechanic
for
are representing
the
the brand, and
correct.
even just touching that car is representing
touching
the brand.
that car.
Yeah,
Absolutely. If the car breaks, you get a bad experience
yeah.
with that brand.
Yeah.
And so again, the company thought so much of it. They're teaching mechanics about branding. I mean, I would never thought. Kind of neat. I have a saying right now. You're only as good as your shittiest job. That's more negative, of course, but it kind of relates to the same sort of deal. It's like especially the higher up you get, there are a lot of fans and a lot of people supporting you, but also you get a lot of haters and want to pull you down. So you really have to watch that.
Absolutely.
But So anyway, to learn that out of being a mechanic at a car that was made out of composite material and fenders, the stuff just doesn't make
pretty innovative of the day. I mean, for what they were, it was a very strange exercise in 80s.
But
and
it
90s.
was more. Yeah, it was, and they were the first EV. So like we were working on electric cars back then. I think one of the that lift table that's behind me right there, that's lifting up that Dynatrac, is out of the EV program. That was made with an iron cross on top to lift the battery packs up. And so when GM canceled the EV program, all those were around. They're too heavy, and the nice guys over there, the managers, I made friends with the owners and the managers. They let me have a couple of them, so it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
So, yeah, well, I was collecting parts. I had lifts in the back of my house. Lisa thought I was crazy, man. I just if I could buy something and get it, this is going to be for a shop. This would be for a shop.
So you already had a vision at a time. You were at the Saturn deal and working, but you already had the long-term vision. You were already thinking about the future.
I wanted to have a shop since I was in Montana. So I was working in Montana and started doing more truck stuff body lifts and stuff.
And you would work for another shop,
Yeah.
And
so I started to want it there. And then when I was at Saturn, I was getting older, and I knew I wanted more, and I was already doing side work and stuff like that, gears and I was heavy line at the dealerships. I was doing trans rebuilds, all that stuff. So doing differentials and stuff like that wasn't out of my realm, and I got to learn it. A lot of good guys work there. Learn it from mutual. Hey, how do you set up this? How do you set up a 9-inch and this and that. There's opportunities everywhere. Yeah, and so that's one. You don't know who you're going to learn from.
Yeah,
I learned some of the best stuff from a Polish guy. Bright red hair, barely speak English, and ornery as a son of a bitch. And we clicked, and he'd come over with a cigarette in the mouth. Hey, this is how you gotta do it. And so if you keep your eyes open, you learn stuff. If you choose to be a victim, you're a victim. If you choose to be positive, or hey, I want to get past there and let's learn this. I think there's still a lot of good opportunities out there. So, anyways, yeah, Saturn. Saturn was a big help. When I turned 30, and that was kind of a big step for me.
Yeah.
Got 2 kids, a house payment. My wife stays at home. She's running all that, which is awesome. That's what we wanted. What can we do? My cousin or friend, his cousin, had a shop he was running out of Fullerton, and he in Fullerton, it was AER Technologies or whatever. They rebuilt instrument clusters. They rebuilt instrument clusters, all electronic stuff, nothing to do with mechanics. But they were leasing out the whole block where our first shop was at, and so they had one area in the back that they finally were out of the whole block, and they went to some giant building somewhere else. And they kept one little area as a catch-all for 2 years. So they had it as a catch-all for 2 years. Mike enjoyed off-roading, had a lot of nice high-end sand cars and stuff like that. Had some Jeeps. I worked on some Jeeps of his. And so he said, hey, I got the spot over here. If he needs some space. So we actually went into it, Off-Road Evolution together. He had the spot and I was a mechanic. So started doing, so he had the spot.
You guys just independent, like totally and just jump in and sublease together you guys lease this little spot just for.
Yeah. Basically he had control over it. So he was able to give us free rent. So it was completely just pile with crap.
Yeah.
And so they had it. They knew they're leasing it that way for 2 years. And so I cleaned it up in the back and this and that and moved stuff around. And then, I had already collected some lifts and stuff and welders. And, so came over, started doing that, figured out a logo, set up a corporation.
Were you still working at Saturn during this was going on?
Yeah.
Was this like an after hours?
I was.
Yeah,
I was. It was another benefit of Saturn, which was awesome, was the schedule they had. It was a rotating shift, but every 3 weeks we had 5 days off in a row, and that was kind of what got me into doing so much off roading. I can make it to live in Long Beach, and I can make it out to Erie on a weekend, and not take a day off.
Yeah.
So we started doing more and more off roading. That's when We Rock was really big. We went to, I think me and Lisa's first time to Moab was like 2006 or no, 96 or 97, date myself here. And just seeing from the outside looking at it, it's like, I could do that. And so anyway, that was always in my head. And then when we had an opportunity to get a shop and do that, we set up a corporation with Mike. He brought the spot for me to not be in the garage no more. Yeah. And then didn't ask for nothing. We took care of his cars, and he had like some nice high end stuff. We did a buggy with Avalanche Engineering. We did a kind of a dual sport buggy, right? Now it's all popular. It's called Ultra 4. But we
remember those days well. It was probably what, 2000, 99, not 2000-ish, 99?
Yeah, this was closer, probably 2003, 4, right in there. Well, we were already doing sand car stuff, and then we did a 502 bit block, and coilovers, and a 4-seater on a contender chassis is what we ended up having done. And then that was like the first year we had the where Mike was providing the rent, and then just kind of opened the shop out of there. So yeah, that's that. And then Saturn was nice enough. I had those great schedules, and then I worked my way up to like a shop foreman. And then the guys there, the owners were super cool. Ken, one of the owners, was really, really cool guy. He had a place out here in Havasu, the Eliminator boats, all that stuff. And if I was out here, he would actually get the boat, and he lived down at Parker, loaded up, and come see me on the river. This is the owner of the company. It was pretty neat. Just cool people around that wanted to see me succeed. And you don't get that all the time, but there are people around that do that. Jeff Harris was my manager, the service manager at the time. And we rubbed heads pretty hard at first. When you first come into any kind of a shop, I always call it a big whorehouse. You have to kind of work your way up. There's people that want to get you fired, especially when you're dealing with flat rate. Because if you're a hustler, if you're making money, if you're coming in and let's say it started at 7, say work hours started at 7, I was there at 6:30, ready to go. Boom, 7. I'm diagnosing cars, pushing them out, diagnosing more cars. I diagnose everything by 8 o'clock. So the service records start calling by the time the guys get to work, and then we upsell and never oversold one thing, man. You write a list down. I always consider myself just a toy boy. I just take care of people's toys. That's all I do. That's the service I provide, for rich guys now and everything else. But they just want to know what's right, what's wrong, and they don't want to look like a fool. And so my job is to make sure I can kind of get them the right thing for them. And everybody's stuff's different. But anyways, it was the same thing then. Write down what you see, what that. up to the service writer to sell it. So yeah, me and Jeff, the service manager, because I had so many guys complaining about me, this and that, and we had a little rough start in the beginning, but he ended up being really, really good and influential for me. He's still around. Hopefully he watches this.
He'll
But they
appreciate a
allowed
little
me to
shout
work.
out.
Yeah, they allowed me to work, and they allowed me to work all the way down to like 2 days a week, 1 day a week, so I could have health insurance.
So you could have benefits. Yeah.
They're pretty cool. And he also gave me another thing, not just Jeff, Kirk Benson, the boss, and the owner, and them, and Ken. When I did decide to go ahead, I said it's not right. First off, for me to come in, and it's bad morale for the guys in the shop. We come in and bang out some hours, and then get to go do whatever. So when I was ready to be able to get out full time and become unemployed, they were nice enough that they said, "Hey, man, you're going to succeed, but if you ever need a job, don't worry about it. Just load up your toolbox and roll it back in." And you don't get that often. So
it gave you the inspiration to do what you wanted to do, get out and do your own shop, but you knew you had something to fall back on just in case.
Yeah,
it was a safety
net
because you had Lisa and the kids. I mean,
you got Lisa and the kids. No bank loans. No big money backing it or nothing. So yeah, it's just what we didn't ever have a savings to jump in on. So first couple of years were credit cards and refinancing the house and going on.
And so when you jumped into the shop venture, did you have did you know it was going to be 4-wheel drive Jeep? Was it just anything service? Didn't care if it was a Buick, Chevy or whatever?
No. I had learned, and I still kind of keep it to this day, that we don't do service. And an example I always give is I'll do some kind of service, but I don't. And when I said I got a Demon and I'm rebuilding the motor on. Different story.
From this vantage point, it looks like a lot of stuff going on back there.
it still kind of goes with that. So I remember specifically there was a lady that had a bad alternator, and she had a belt tensioner was bad, and some other stuff in the belt, and it was like $1,000 and for an alternator to be replaced. And she had a little kid, and a stroller. She's crying in the drive. It's just a horrible day for her. I felt like shit, but it's fucking alternator. You got to replace it, right? Horrible feeling.
Yeah.
You could we used to sell Premier power welders. We're like $1,500 for an alternator converted into a welder. Yeah. Charge another 6-7 hours to put it on, and the customer can't wait for it. Yeah. It's like awesome. So it's just a different sort of deal, and it wears on you as a mechanic. I don't want to be the bad guy all the time. That's not cool. Yeah. I'm doing my best I can for make sure it's right. And so we chose to do more toys, more toys.
You knew that going that route as far as repair service wasn't the route you wanted to stay in and transition out of.
Correct.
Because it is emotional.
Yeah. With that said, I did do. We started off right off the bat with sand car service. So
little different when you got $100,000 sand rail at that time.
Correct. Yeah. Type 30 CVs. Somebody wanted to touch them good or dirty, and this and that. So I'd go on. I think it was Fridays, and buy a box of Krispy Kreme donuts. I'd buy like 6 boxes. I think they're like $6 at the time or something. And then I'd go over to the sand car, the McKenzie's and CarTech and Buckshot Racing, Extreme Performance, all the sand car guys, and go in there myself and give them a donut with our little makeshift sticker and say, "Hey man, I know you guys are super busy. If there's any work you don't want to do, please send it your way." And
nice.
Got some good customers out of that, and still friends with Andrew Buck. He still builds some of the coolest sand cars out there.
Yeah, he does.
And he'll still stop by, say hi, and he sent me out some cool stuff. He actually shaped my EVO 1 hood. Andrew shaped that for me. It's pretty cool. But so anyway, it's going out there and talking to people. King the same way, and met King a lot different. I met Lance King with they had a shop smaller than my first shop when I met him. It was tiny. And I had a Suzuki Samurai that I put Toyota axles underneath it, spring over in the front, and swayaways, swayaway coilover shocks in the back with Honda Civic springs off a strut that I heated up and twisted on to make it fit. Total freaking Mickey Mouse, and I had these two little bucket seats I picked up at a swap meet, two little tiny kids Mastercraft seats in the back. Made a buggy out of it, and me and Lisa drove it over to where King was at. I think they were off Taft Road or Task Road or something. Anyways, went in there, met old timer there, Lance King. Didn't know who he was from Adam at that point. He shot shit with me. It's you got the kids, and I think I had Melvin with us, and I said I need to have the shocks charged. I don't have any nitrogen or I didn't know nothing about it. He goes, oh yeah, I'll have somebody charge it, and he had a rebate charge it, which rebate's like God out there in the desert. So anyways, go out there, and then he's shooting the shit with me about. He likes he used to have scouts. He used to take his boys out, this and that. I had a really good experience with him. No products that are his on the car. And I said, man, when I can afford to buy some Kings, I'm going to buy some Kings from you.
Well, now was that when they had formulated his King? Because didn't Lance buy Custer?
Yeah, he came out of Custer, but this is already King.
Right.
This is early 2000s. They were already King, just heavy off-road racing.
Yep. I remember getting their first single page. They had a guy when I was at Central 4-Wheel Drive, and a guy, they had like a 1 or 2 page flyer, and it was just they were 5 shocks, and they were listed by size, right? It was either an 18, 22, or 24. It was they were the hot ticket even. I mean, that was 2000 or so,
Yeah, and they focused on racing and dialing it in, on just specifically the racing side of it. And they still kind of do to this day, They don't brand all the way to the bottom. A lot of other companies brand all the way to the bottom, and then King brands from the top of the top to midway down.
Yeah,
they don't fill that bottom gap.
Yeah, still privately owned. A lot of other I think they're given a little more.
Yeah.
They got a little more ability to pick and choose their direction, right? Where a lot of the others are
privately
owned.
And they've been a great brand partner. Like I said, as soon as I could afford to buy Kings on a customer's build, and then so on and so on, then we started manufacturing parts and everything else, and just they've been really good. Like Lance, we lost him a few years back. But he would go just spend personal time, like on Moab. We'd always have a Easter egg hunt on Sunday, spend the extra day on Sunday, or maybe do it on big Saturday for the kids, because my kids never not been to Moab, and they would come out, roast hot dogs with us and everything else, and me and my mom and dad, my family, and Lance and his wife, just cool people, and same thing with Brett and Ross, good guys, and Mike Eads, love being a part of that family. They've been pretty good. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah. No, great family. Great family. So yeah. So you're in Fullerton in the back 40 there in the back shop, and you're starting to do.
We had a back tilt up, just garage doors. Nothing. We had a little desk, not even a desk. I got some petitions out of the paper. It was like $50 and made that look decent. And then Lisa was doing the. We just had a little computer. Mike made a simple spreadsheet, and then Lisa was trying to keep track of that, and it was pretty cool. And we ended up getting a contender buggy, started doing that. That was all in the 2000. We've been in business 20 years this year.
Yeah, we have that 6 degrees of separation, because didn't you buy Larry Trim's buggy from Trail Ready?
Yeah. We bought Larry's buggy with the Jeep Liberty front clip on it.
I have our 6 degrees. I did the wiring on that buggy.
Okay.
Because Larry, I had a car stereo background, right, and a love of wiring and gauges and all that type of stuff, like all kids at the time. And so Larry couldn't wire anything, wasn't great at it, but I couldn't weld anything. So we kind of had a. I remember that. I remember, we didn't know each other at the time. But I think I remember when talking to Lisa on the phone, and I remember the check coming in and bringing it down the hallway to Larry. And I remember that whole time frame.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the comp Mickey Thompsons on it.
Yeah. That was a big deal. That was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had our foot in the door with Mickey Thompson. We were buying aluminum wheels and then converting Mickeys into beadlocks, right? So we would machine off the outer and then weld in a couple of inner flanges, and that's how Trailready aluminum wheels were born. They started with steel, but we were buying exclusively Mickey Thompson wheels. Mickey Thompson at the time wouldn't sell through us direct, so we had to work this pass through Les Schwab for a while, and then it worked out that we wound up working it out direct before, and then later on switched to Eagle wheel. But yeah, Mickey Thompson was the jams back then. I mean, that was the and the tires, it was good times.
Everything changed. Yeah, we bought that. Me and Mike went 50-50 on that one.
Nice.
And then we enjoyed that. He got his Avalanche, and then we ran that around. I think we ended up selling it. Mike separated from Off-Road Evolution when his son was born. He didn't want to spend any time away from his son.
Gotcha.
Which is nice. He ended up buying a campground up in Idaho sand dunes. Bitching, built that into something awesome. We actually went up there on the family vacation before that. The whole area, because that was my old stomping ground off of West Yellowstone. He enjoyed that area, and he ended up buying a small campground, built it into a pretty cool spot now. So I think I bought him out of his half for, I think I built a 2007 JK for him. But we did the actual coil. I don't know if it's coilovers at that point, but the axles and everything on that one. So
and that was it. That was it. His give it to him, and you guys.
We separated up at that point. Yeah. We weren't, shops don't make money. You stay busy. You can make a good living for one person or family, Yeah.
But at that point, you weren't doing any suspension stuff. You were just essentially building
we were manufacturing
more custom stuff.
Yeah, we were. So that was 2004 through 2006 was the Look at Me. Well, no, that wasn't Look at Me stage. That was a JL.
JK.
No,
and to
TJ,
TJ
just came out
into JK in what 07.
Yeah, but what was the long wheelbase one?
LJ.
So that was what we had, man. Yep. The high end guys had the LJ Rubicon.
Yeah,
so it was stretch of nose even.
Yep.
Comp corners, coilovers, making towers. I think Genrite had towers at that point. But making towers, we made, we're doing all kinds of different stuff on that. Chopper influence. I was doing like pointed hood, horns through the hood for the coilovers to come through.
TJs were pretty, I mean, looking back, the TJ was kind of a game changer for everybody. It was
a good vehicle.
Yeah, there were so many different brands of suspension and parts and pieces, and kind of. I mean, YJ, there was parts and pieces. CJ, sure, but TJ just turned the corner and it just wicked up everything. And
So what year was the first?
TJ first at 97.
97.
Yeah.
So 97, I was at Zaharis Automotive. And so around the corner, there was a sheet metal shop. His name was Mel Guy. And really cool old timer, had a big old cigar, just cowboy boots, just old school America.
Yep.
And anyways, he had CJs and in there, and I'd always talk to him because I was in the metal work, and I get some of his scraps and this and that, and talk Jeeps or whatever I was building. Anyways, when it came out in 97, right at the end of Signal Hill was a Jeep dealership. He literally drove it into his shop a block away, put it on a rack, and cut the sucker up. And he had Curry axles put in it or to put in, stuff like that. That was my first time that I had actually seen. Holy smokes! Brand new car, brand new Jeep, and this guy is cutting it up himself and building how he wants. And I think it was on the rack for probably probably 6 months. Stuff takes a long time to get. And that was my first time eye-opening again at the independent shop, nothing to do with that, but just seeing people, Jeeps, they have a following, and people are into them.
Yeah.
And that was back in, like I said, '97.
Yeah.
So that was a long time. Then fast forward, we started making a business out of that, and I'd shoot the shit with him, go back and have some sheet metal stuff made for one-off stuff, and pick his brain. A lot of good times out of that whole block. The next door to him was the Ollie's Machine Shop, which my good buddy Efren, great machinist, does all kind of motor work, build my high-end motors. He doesn't like to build motors for high-end race cars. He likes regular work, but he'll do the motors. Pretty cool guy. All at that same block, and I'm still friends with them to this day. But that was cool to see that. So towards the end, 2005 through 7 or 6 was the end, and the vehicles got wilder. So Diatrac axles and Curry axles and coilovers and all that stuff.
I agree. A lot coming out of the woodwork, because you had the influence, I think, during that time of the early, ARCA, then U-Rock and all the rock crawling stuff that was going on, and I think all of that was trickling down. Right?
That was massive, and I think rock crawling kind of died for a little bit when Tiny with Larry McRae and John Bondurant, they kind of stomped everybody and made a badass moon buggy. And when the moon buggies kind of came through, it kind of didn't translate too well with the Jeeps. Before that, you could see a Jeep from Chris Durham or John Curry running a Jeep base, and it kind of changed a little bit on that one. Now it's back.
Yeah.
Buggies are.
I agree. I agree with you a little bit. I mean, I think ultimately economy killed it all, right? But in 08, 09 on that end of things. But I mean, you go during that time frame, you had the Weavers doing the rock racing stuff. You had I mean, it was a really fun time, and I think a lot of those products and the marketing and I mean, think about it, pre-social media, right? I mean, a lot of that was pre-social media in 03, 04, 05. Like you weren't posting stuff on Facebook. Like you were still seeing that stuff in the magazines. You were still watching the VHS, the DVDs, I mean, right?
Sidekick DVDs, all of that one.
I mean, you were excited to get the Ultimate Adventure 2003 DVD to see what's what and learn what coilovers and what transmission he's running and what adapter plate.
Lot different time with the instant information we have now. It's almost harder to get information, to tell you the truth. It's easier. It's all in front of you, but you don't know if this jackass even knows what he's talking about or not. And it's just like, you just got some free shit and he's saying it's great. It's a tough one, because you just don't know. And I get that across the board. I'm in all kinds of different stuff. So first thing you look at, okay, I got this new rifle. What do I do? You start looking at all this stuff. Yeah, I don't really know that. Yeah, that guy might be a tool.
Yeah, we all do it outside of our segment, right? Something we don't know. The kind of when in doubt, YouTube it out. And you're like, is this guy know what he's talking about? I'm gonna find another guy.
But a lot of behind the scenes on the magazine stuff was very similar. Sharper guys, but it was still very what agenda were they pushing? So
there was a balance in those early days because of the ad revenue that was coming in. The publisher ruled the roost, right? I mean, he had to balance the financial incoming needs versus editorial external going out the door.
Correct.
So
and I made a lot of friends with a lot of the editors. We always had open door policy for all the shop I lost or invested, thousands of hours on that stuff, with no physical write-off on it, because I'm not that smart. But it worked out very well for us. But we did get blacklisted on a lot of those magazines. They still want to use us. They had their own guys they're using. So we got to see the stuff in the back behind that,
Blacklisted.
And we're all good friends now.
Who's blacklisting you in this era? Who would that be? I mean, there's no magazines left, so...
Yeah, they're still around. The people are still around. But yeah, they put you with different stuff. Shit, you done with that stuff, Chris. Don't do
Hey,
that.
you know that there's, I can joke about it now, but when I started
Yeah.
with Nitto and we pulled all the money out of the magazines, people were angry.
Yeah.
They were angry, and there were no more Nitto articles. There were no more.
Yeah. So it can change. It changed like that. My point was the magazines are God. A lot of smart guys there, but they still had an agenda. And I think now with social media, which is awesome, you can find a lot of stuff, but it's hard to know where you're getting good information from. So I think it's a little bit tough on that.
The reach of this is a side tangent, but the reach of the influencer, in a sense, even though he may not have the experience, right, maybe dwarfs the reach of, say, somebody that has that experience, that has been doing it for 20, 30 years, right, that understands every nut and bolt and everything. Sometimes that is a challenge. I agree with you. I agree with you. So
anyways, 2006.
Yep.
2006, the JK came out. So again, a lot of those people, magazines, everything else, they ruined it. And the industry, they ruined the Jeep.
There was a lot of that.
Their Jeep is ruined. Or blah blah blah.
Do you remember
it
was pitchforks came out? Like it was. The magazines hated it.
I loved it. I loved it.
Everybody hated it. It's got the minivan motor. It's got plastic bumpers. It's too long, and the breakover sucks. The approach sucks.
Pretty much everybody forgot they said that now, but
everybody did. Everybody, because that was still form time, right? I mean, that was Jake. I mean, I don't know when JK owners and all of that, but I can remember some of that early pirate stuff. I can remember they hated the JK.
So 2006, we got it's like the second one off the train in California. It was a gray Sahara. And I didn't care what it was. People were waiting for Rubicons and this and that. I said, I don't know. We just need something. And we'll make it cool. And then I actually like the idea, the 4-seater. I've always had Jeeps, but I've always liked the full size stuff. I always used to buy like Dodge trucks, Ram Chargers, stuff like that. They were cheap first off. Got it from my dad. We knew how to work on them, and that little bit bigger wheelbase was always nice.
And it's funny. Remember during that time frame, the 4-seat Sandrail really was coming into its own, right? That like 04, like pre-runners, 4-seat Sandrail. I mean, I remember going to Sand Sports and pre-runners were showing up, and they were 4-seat, not 2-seat. Yeah. Right. I mean, no. You still had, Rhinos and all that stuff were on the market were 2-seat, but that was the thing.
The high end sand cars was having a whole family, 100%. And so I liked it. So we bought it. I mean, we really couldn't afford it, but we bought it and took it back to the shop, and I got a call from Superior Axle at the time. Mike Denton over there. Mike Denton, junior, not senior.
Junior.
Badass guy. He had the place out here, and Junior is funny. I really liked him. Anyway, he said, I heard you had a Jeep, and we were doing a lot of stuff with full traction at the time on
Kramer.
So that's Steve Kramer. He had a Ford Super Duty kit, was a pretty bitchin' for swapping in coilovers and stuff.
Yeah, remember it.
So we did a lot of stuff, a lot of those back in the day. So anyway, he must have said we had one. So Mike Denton came by and we pulled out the gears. So I literally pulled out the gears, gave them to him so they could reverse engineer. It's one of those things nobody had anything.
Nothing.
So they nothing. So they made gears and axles right off the bat. And so I was able to get a good deal, good guy price for them for a while on gears and axles, and became friends with them. The family's really, really nice.
Yep.
So anyways, I started the gear special. So what we ended up doing was I think I did $1,000 front and rear gear special. I was and so we'd re-gear the cars, and so that since there was no gears available. And a new vehicle, we started getting a lot of everybody and their brother. They might not have had at that point, everybody was trying to make their own lift kits from FabTech, Rancho, everything else. Yeah. And So we actually had a lot of them guys come over too that were doing the gears in, because there's a small
Because you're
shop
kind of
over
centrally
there.
located at that time. I mean, there was a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
going on in SoCal.
absolutely. And so when I say we, at that point I didn't have many people, so I did a lot of gears. And we had a helper at that time, and then we kept that going for a while. Met a lot of people in the industry on that one, just because there was nothing available, new vehicle, and doing gears.
Yep.
So that worked out pretty well for us. Started at that point, I realized I wanted to start making my own product. That was, and so
And how does that go?
I don't know when.
You're humming along. You're doing builds. You're using a lot of other people's product. How do you make that transition? I mean, was it just something you and Lisa talked about, or did you have other people in your circle you were talking about?
No, I didn't really have a circle. So it was one of those things where it was, I was making a lot of stuff, tracing it out of cardboard, cutting it out with a torch, or cut off wheel, or a plasma cutter, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of lazy. I don't want to make every one-off. It's a one-off. It takes forever. And so it kind of started off with the idea of, hey, this bracket right here, coilovers. I was doing coilovers, man. And coilovers, back then, if you talk to somebody that had a coilover, they're like, oh no, that's off-road use only. It's too squirrely on the road. And it was a no-brainer, and nobody was driving them. Everybody else say something different now. But we learned a lot. I learned a lot with Lance, learned a lot with Aribe, we both learned mutual. And I'll tell you about the testing. So we're started doing coilovers, want to make towers. So I actually hired Andrew Purley. I said, hey man, I got this idea. Well, first off, I had to make draw up a sign for me. I think I had Brad Kilby cut the sign out for me. Nice. I still have it. I've never put it up. Nice. Off-Road Evolution sign. And that's kind of how I met him. I met him when they brought the cars over for doing gears.
What was his background? Where was he from at that time?
He's a mechanical engineer.
Was he fresh out of school, or was he
fresh out of school for about, I think, a couple of years with Rancho suspension?
Oh, okay.
Which Rancho was right down the road. Yep. So we ended up meeting him when they brought some over. Sharp guy, like desert racing, and that's cool,
Yep.
Kind of the background I like. Yeah, I like rock crawling too. Don't get me wrong. Yep. The desert racing, living in SoCal,
but you had a good mechanical engineering kind of background, and
really good mechanical engineer. So I talked to him about possibly, hey, would you mind, would you be interested in coming over with me? And I'd like to start a company making products. I said, you be sweat equity, and you won't pay a dime. I'll fund it. And what do you think? So I gave him a percentage, and he worked his ass off, whatever I could think of, hey, let's make this. The guy's awesome with SolidWorks, like the best that I know, period. Can draw stuff up, boom, let's get it going. And so we started making products that were missing, what
was your first product? What was your first product?
First product I ever made before Andrew was actually, they're so common now, it's embarrassing. The inside the JK, the front shock horn, I made spacers to go around a Radflow bump stop and hold a bump stop in that shock horn. So nobody had that. So I made aluminum
inside the JK. You mean just like to space the bump stop down, or was it just?
No, I put a Radflow bump stop, a hydraulic bump stop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like King and everybody else mounts them now. That's the standard. Yeah. So I'm like, that fits there. Blah, blah, blah. And I had an old ass lathe. I still have it in Long Beach. And I cut that sucker up out of some thick wall aluminum tubing and drilled a set screw and put that in there. And I think I had that at SEMA 2000. We were at SEMA 2006 with our 2007 JK.
Do that? I mean,
yeah.
Because I don't remember as seeing that.
Some other ones had them cut off. You should cut cut the tab off. ORO, I think, had one
Later. I don't think it was as early as that,
I think they even had TJ stuff, but not through there. So
Gotcha.
I have a magazine article up on the wall whenever we did it. But anyways, that little piece I machined out, polished it up, and we did that, and that was our first little piece. Didn't really sell it, didn't have any distribution to sell it, but it was, again, trying to fill a niche from an off-road shop to be able to make it go easier. And that's kind of what we started with.
That you can market and get out the door, just to generate some cash flow and keep it moving.
Yeah, and I don't even think I made any money on it, but that was like the first part that we did. And then I think I had a friend that was an aerospace company. The aerospace was taking a crap right then, and so I had to make a billet aluminum door handles and stuff like that. The first one's out now. You get all kind of China knockoffs. So those were the first things we did. And then, like I said, talked with Andrew, and he thought it over and came back, and he worked a couple years with no pay. Just sweat equity in there, put his dues in.
Wow.
Good guy.
Wow.
So
he becomes kind of your partner then. You guys, he's
not kind of, he's a partner.
Yeah. He kind of he's got the design end of things. You've got a little bit of the fabrication, the knowledge, and a little bit of the marketing kind of understanding going on, and you guys kind of come together at this.
What's going where? So we kind of specialize. Yeah, we kind of specialize in making the coilovers work. Is what we did. Making coilovers popular on the vehicle. Now it's a staple, right?
Was that because you were seeing at the time the level of people that were wanting to spend that money? Like, were they? You know, if you, it wasn't
even that. It's the best.
It was
right?
just cool.
So it's like, it's cool. That's what we're already doing on our rock buggies. That's what we're already doing on all the sand cars.
Yeah.
That's what we're already doing on desert racing. So it was already there. That's what we were doing. So might as well bring it to the Jeep side. So that was my thinking. And again, it's popular. I think Fabtech had a kit out right away. So we were modifying other people's kits, whether it was full traction or Terraflex, and then modifying the kits with our coilover tower. And we did a cool cantilever system in the back called the EVO lever. I didn't have to cut any of the frame. We still sell it. We actually have a couple vehicles back there right now. We put them on.
The cantilever kit was pretty innovative, honestly. I mean, has anybody ever done it since? Are you guys still the only guys?
Oh yeah, in a Jeep they're not. We still sell.
But in a JK, that was pretty innovative in its time. You know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so we pushed that, and we're out of the shop. We were doing the coilover kits, and then putting on other people's long arm kits or whatever, and then doing that.
Nice.
And then we made bumpers and some other stuff. It's kind of slow, and I was already making rock sliders and stuff out of the shop. Just tubing, and I think like tubing rock sliders, and then frame mounted. So we started doing more of those, more production, and then a couple bumpers, and then we started getting a little bit of hate. We started getting, of course, right? You start getting hate. The suspension kits we were pushing, we're having bushing failures and stuff like that, which happens.
Were you using an off-the-shelf poly bushing, or were you using at that time?
No. I wasn't making any bushings. I was using other people's long arm kits minus their springs and shocks, and then making our own towers.
Gotcha.
So those companies started complaining and saying their bushings were failing because we had too much wheel travel. And so, it was like I had no plans on. We were like, even to this day, it's like kind of hard to find a whole complete kit because we were just making coilovers and other stuff, and going with it. And so one day I'm like, we're getting flamed for this and that by the owners of the companies. Blaming Off-Road Evolution or EVO Manufacturing for too much wheel travel for coilover kits. That's why their bushings are failing. So I said, "Fucking Andrew, make some brackets on the frame. Let's get some long arm kits." So, but even that we didn't backfill it to like a whole kit until like the JL came out. All the JKs were still pieced apart. Long arm upgrade, coilover kit, and everything else. JK, I think we might have had some springs and shocks made. The JL, we definitely did actually have our own coil springs wound, and for the overland guys, for the street guys that wants a coil spring and a shock, not just a coil over.
Yeah.
So now, you go 15 years later, we have the complete lineup.
Yeah.
But that's where we started with kind of the niche performance. And again, coilovers right now are so common. Everybody's like, yeah, it's awesome.
It
We learned so much.
wasn't common back when you were doing that stuff. Cause I mean,
yeah. So we,
that was the dream.
Went out testing with King. So I got to have Lance. So it was let me see it this straight. It was EVO 1. We had our cantilever kit on. We were testing all day. We went from, we were out there, Cootie back. I don't know. Anyways, Johnson Valley, Bessemer Mine Road or whatever, the old racetrack. We were out there all day, and I brought my whole crew. We were changing springs and shocks and revalving. The King was revalving. And we went from going 40 miles an hour, or 50 miles an hour to like 70 miles an hour through these whoops. Like fucking fast, like really nice. Like, holy smokes, it's cool. And so it was toward late in the day already. We thought we had it dialed. And I go, hey, but there's one more. Let's go for a ride. So we got Lance in the car, Mike Eads, Ross, and I think we squeezed a little Melvin in there somewhere too. And we go over, and there was a rock ledge like the size of the toolbox, maybe 36 inches up.
Yep.
And so I had it all locked up, and I went boom and put it on, rock crawled up it, and all I heard in the car was like that. So Lance is right here. We got Ross and we got Mike Eads. Whoa. And then Lance goes, people are doing this? And I go, yeah. I said, that uneasy feeling is what we don't want. And he goes, oh, I can fix that. So we did a little bit of rock crawling. So anyways, we go back out. They made some adjustments. We lost from, let's say, 70 miles an hour. We lost speed in the whoops down to about 55 miles an hour. We actually took speed out of the go fast. I learned a lot that day. It was the way you set up the shocks. So we sacrificed a little bit on the speed, but what we got in return was a stable car. You could swerve, you could jump up, you could side hill, you could do stuff. So that's kind of where we learned. They were selling race shocks with no rebound whatsoever, just to fill the hole to go super fast. And so we started dialing in our own valve shocks for the weight of the vehicle, for the suspension setup. And it was pretty cool to be working with them and us all to have that seat in the pants in that seat experience where all the light bulbs went on, like, oh shit, yeah, we don't want this. And so we kind of make a compromise. To this day, we'll still dial it in. I love our kit. I think we got the best kit out there. We sell it so anybody can drive on the road and off the road and have a great time, but we can still tailor it to go faster or a lot smoother going slower. So there's a compromise in between. I still think it's the best and the best we can do. But you can still tailor it towards this end or this end. Yeah.
There's kind of two customers, right? You got the one guy that really wants to go fast and not saying he's going to treat it like a Raptor, but maybe, right? And then you got the other guy that's really never going to do much of it, just wants the little bit of the look and the performance and even the on-road performance. There is quite a big difference on road between a coilover and just a spring and a shock, and in just, sheer carving corners and canyon roads and stuff in a Jeep. Yeah. So yeah, definitely two different customers.
So we learned so much with the coilovers. So I would say the coilovers were like the biggest thing for us as a company, for EVO Manufacturing as a company to dial in and get that. And then, like I said, we backfilled some classics on like the bumpers. Our quarter pounder bumpers, just a simple military look. We did that back in the day, form and function, it's still one of our best sellers. And there's just stuff. We continue to make better parts. I got some new stuff coming out with the JL. Nice. A lot of stuff with the Gladiators. Some cool stuff. We have Bronco parts now. Nice. We've had it for a while. I didn't want to push it with everybody and their brother were pushing the Bronco, but we had on the Fast and Furious, the last one. We have our kit on that, Dana Spicer's cars. So we have some Bronco stuff out there. We have some Ram stuff now. Full kits from 2.5s to 3.0 Kings, direct bolt on for Ram 2500. So some cool stuff. We're able to kind of go big across the board on a lot of the suspensions. So kind of pride myself in being able to run the suspensions. Like I said, I like off-roading, and so be able to put it through the paces and run it.
Nice. So
I blab too much, man.
No,
Sorry.
no. I mean, no. You get going on the. So you guys get this thing going, right? And you got partner. You got But at this point, you're not in the back. You're not in the back building a Fullerton at this point, right? Did you guys move into a building or what? Was there...
No. I started renting out all the buildings. So we ended up having we went from the back shed to 5,000 square foot for the shop.
Big move.
That we're doing shop, and it was the same complex, shop and lift kits out of, kind of dual purpose. And then when the building came up and available, the next address I leased out, and then I finally leased out the original back shed I had with the front building. So we had 3 different
there, as I remember.
Yeah. So we had 3 different leases, 2 different landowners there at one point. And so kind of running it, trying to build inventory, relationships, distribution on the manufacturing side with marketing.
And you're still making that stuff here. So. You're not an overseas, you're still
we make it all in Long Beach. We pride ourselves in that. We fixture weld everything right there.
I forgot to ask you there. What was you were having the other guy bushing suspension issue. What was your fix? Was it because you guys are using a Johnny joint now in most of your stuff, aren't you?
Yeah. We use a Johnny joint. Those guys put it through the paces. John Curry, you really put it through the paces. And a lot of people have knockoffs of knockoffs. And so, it's more expensive. But again, branding with the partners, that's their joint, and they stand behind it. So it was a task I didn't want to take on at that time, or building up. I think we made a good choice on that. There's different technologies and stuff coming out, different. But like I said, I think for as far as durability, I've raced with it. They're strong, man. It's just a cool bushing. Been around a long time. It works. So that's kind of what we branded with on all of our lift kits on that one, was the Johnny joint. We run a couple uniballs on them, which you see in more like race applications, but we run uniballs on our upper on the frame just to make it a little more rigid. We kind of really what we were building the custom suspensions with is what we ended up making our lift kit with.
Yeah. So today, I mean, you've got the full range. What's your best? What sells the best? Is it just the JL still? Do you still do a lot of JK stuff? I mean, JL.
Mainly JL. JK, we still sell a lot of stuff for. Current model years are what people want to build their cars for. Yeah. And then how much money they want to spend, the older the car gets, kind of goes down. It's not to say that the unicorn or the hardcore guy wants to, if you're emotionally attached to the vehicle, you'll put a lot of money into it. But for most that, vehicle within the first 5 years is when you're going to mod it up and everything. So that's where we're getting more of the volume off of.
Are you still doing custom build stuff? I mean, I know over the years you've done quite a bit of, all kinds of stuff that I've seen over the years.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff.
Still doing a lot.
We've done a lot of stuff. We do. We have more of a production. So what happens now is instead of me doing a one-off and have to answer a whole bunch of questions, we'll go ahead and make it into a kit form and maybe run a short run for it. You'll start seeing that coming out sooner than later. Will be like a short run of a signature series, and maybe we're only going to make 100 of them, and then not make any more. That allows us to be able to make some cool cutting edge stuff. And then that stuff, you can only sell so much of it, like TIG welded, chromoly, stuff like that.
Yeah. A little bit more expensive, some a little more niche, a little more exclusive.
Yeah. So that'll be our way to be able to still build some cool, kind of cutting edge stuff, and then sell it as a production item if people want it.
Nice.
But as far as custom builds go, I haven't done much this last couple of years. Been a kind of a tough couple of years for us. Yeah. But we built stuff for everybody. have, well, can't say haven't done a custom. The car behind us has a Demon motor, trailing arm, 26 inches of wheel travel, custom Curry axles, all the cars in here, Chevys from Motec and our coilovers, bypasses. So I'm kind of tainted when I say I haven't built much custom stuff, but we're blessed with some badass customers and cool stuff.
So
but as far as me,
where do you see the economy going with that? Like where do you, I mean, is it a lot of guys in the Jeep space right now are, saying it's been a little slow, parts consumers are down a little bit. Is this trickling into your end of the customer base? Or
yeah, it does. I think a lot of people are comparing peak COVID, where it was absolutely crazy, right? And so peak COVID, there was a whole bunch of Biden bucks out there.
Everybody had the money.
And yeah, so people were really buying. So we're off of that, but I don't know. I think we keep it lean and we keep it light and we make cool stuff.
And you got family
Jeep
working for you, right? I mean, Melvin's working for you, your son, and Harley's working for you.
What I say is we excelled on the last recession, and we've kept it lean on properties and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna be fine on this coming recession. It's election year. Who knows what?
Yeah.
Hopefully light switch turns back on. But I'm not too worried about it. But it is a slowdown across the board on some stuff. But I had a horrible saying, but it was a saying I was saying back in 2007, 2008, when the economy crashed. We built more badass cars right then. We were like, that's not going to sell. We were selling them. And what I noticed was the wealthy people, when the economy slows down, everybody's hurting, they're still going to have some cool toys. And a lot of times a Jeep is consolidating. So you're going to buy your new sand car, your new boat, this and that. You can get one vehicle that kind of does it all and still be able to drive in the wintertime or when it's super hot. And the Jeep kind of fills that platform.
Yeah.
So if you can make it ride good and everybody's happy, those continue to sell.
Yeah. Dual sport, dual purpose, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of, okay, I'm not going to get the new Can-Am because I can only drive it in fair weather. And I'm not going to get this. So here we'll do a Jeep, a Bronco, something like that. Be able to use it all year and be able to still go off-roading, hunting, camping, overlanding, whatever you want to call it.
Do you think the side-by-side market's cut into the Jeep market?
No, I think the side-by-side market's awesome. I got a few of them. I think they're awesome. We could drive them on the road. So I'm definitely not a hater. I talk a lot of shit, but I'm not a hater of them. I think they're badass. They're buggies and pretty cool. I call them a jet ski in the desert, but it's everybody can have one, and everybody's out there just kind of going crazy with them. But man, this King of the Hammers, shit, that thing was fast out there.
Yeah,
man. They got to feel really good.
Yeah, it really was.
So there's neat stuff. As far as them hitting the market, I think they have. I think they have, not necessarily on our side of it, but I think in general, I think they probably have, because now you can get a turnkey buggy and finance it and have insurance on it. But with that said, the prices are getting up there,
prices
man.
Are getting pretty steep.
They're pretty pricey out there, and I live out in the desert. Everybody's trying to put them away right now for out here because it's gonna get hot. And then in the Midwest and the North, it's too cold to run them. So they are a happy toy, that fair weather, And so Jeep still, you can go year round and have a good time, go everywhere with them. So there is that, especially if the economy starts to go south, you can kind of consolidate in one vehicle.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's carved into maybe a little bit of sales, but I do think it's kind of two different customer bases and more of a family aspect vehicle that you can use every day. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're awesome. They got AC now and heat and
the side by sides
cool.
That new one, XB Explorer, whatever, power windows, door locks, air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing you get to a Jeep, really.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So man,
yeah, so that's why I think that Jeep is kind of going more fancy with the amenities on the inside, which love it or hate it. But I think that's kind of what's they're trying to stand apart from that.
So how do you, I mean, speaking of that, what do you think? I know you're pretty optimistic, but on this subject, but when it goes to IFS,
Huh?
when the solid axle goes away, does the Jeep market continue on full steam ahead? Are we all built?
As long as we get big wheel wells.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all I ever ask the engineers.
I know you've said that in the
They're
past.
awesome.
I know.
That's some great people. If we had big wheel wells on the Grand Cherokee, it would kick Bronco's ass.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just needs a big wheel well. It's had a factory V8 forever and all that. So if we can have a big wheel well for Jeep, if your Jeep guys are listening, that's really all we need.
It's a risk versus reward though, right? I mean, you put the big wheel well open in there, and that's the reward is the big tire, but the risk is the broken steering rack.
The risk is
what Bronco's going
throwing racks.
So,
Yep. So, but the aftermarket takes care of that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. And I think technology's increased enough that, with machining and everything else, that there are solutions to the problem that have materialized for Bronco, and I think it's getting better every day.
Yeah. But people have a problem with cutting into their body on a brand new vehicle.
Yeah.
So that's why I said if we have a big wheel well, we can run portals. You can do whatever. Blah 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 blah. If we have a big wheel well to fit them in, I think the aftermarket is going to take care of it. It'll still be a viable platform.
Yeah.
If you make a small wheel well, it's gonna make it into the Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
Which, like I said,
yeah. I mean, you can go back to the Commander, right? V8, 5-speed, 3 rows of seating, like a pretty good platform. But man, you couldn't fit a 37 on it even if you cut it open,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that's it. It's gonna be here before we know it.
Yeah.
So it's.
I've said this before, but I just think Bronco kind of proved. Bronco sold 100,000+ units. I think Bronco kind of proved you don't have to have a solid axle to be in the space and be successful. So, I think that just mileage and scale of economies and everything else, that I think the solid axle is going to be a dying breed in the future for Jeep. Could be wrong. Yeah, could be wrong.
Lay down, buddy.
So
yeah, but if the Bronco had a small wheel well, it would suck.
Very
So
true.
Get it.
Very true.
So it goes back to we want a big tire, cool looking car.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm sorry if the dog's barking.
No.
Lay down, buddy.
No, you mentioned tough time. I know how long has it been since Lisa has been gone now?
A little over going on 3 years. So in November will be 3 years. Yeah. So it's 2.5 years right now.
Yeah. I mean, and I remember, I remember that you guys were on the, Jeep experience. And I remember you calling and having, you said you guys got COVID. That was a pretty crazy time, I think, for everybody, myself included.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a Halloween. We were setting up in Texas. We're going to Texas in a couple of weeks. Beautiful park down there, K2 Off-Road Park. But we were set up we just did a week-long run, and we were feeling tired, headaches, stuff like that. And then Harley bought some hamburgers, and I ate it. And was like, this tastes weird. So I lost my taste, and you got to go to the hospital. So we went in there, and it was a tough one. They said we're probably both going to die. I hope you have your papers in order. That's what the doctor said.
Really? I mean, were you guys had bad symptoms? It just flu symptoms, just not
not flu symptoms too much. I had a bad headache, and looking back at it, it makes perfect sense. I had a headache like if you were in Colorado.
Like an altitude, like you're not getting enough oxygen at that point. We
were starving for oxygen, and so that's what we had. No energy, and by that point we had cough and stuff like that. But yeah, it was very traumatic, very sad. Yeah, we went in there. Lisa didn't make it out, and then my kids were there. Harley was in Harley had COVID, got diagnosed with COVID. They were able to give her the cocktail. So she's in Harley's my daughter. So she's in the not in the hospital, but she's at the hotel. And then Melvin was there. So Melvin was able to come in. Look, you're a space alien all covered up.
They were still doing the keep everybody separated thing, not letting family in and all of that during that time frame.
Yeah, luckily we got it in Texas, and because you were still able to get Melvin in to see us, and they were nice enough. Lisa talked the nurses into rolling her in my room. I was worse than she was for the first part of the week. And then she started having some heart issues towards the end. But she was nice enough that nurses rolled us into each other's room, and she was trying to talk me into eating, all that good stuff. But yeah, so we very tough, very emotional. We built the whole company with Lisa. So Lisa was motivation, and did all the books and all that stuff, and kind of kept me focused.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was
She's an amazing woman. She had a memory like no other. So I'll be honest. She would remember. She would see something on social from 3 months ago and bring it up in a conversation. Like, what happened there? What was going on? Like, she would bring it up. Like, how did you remember that? That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah. It was tough. The funeral was pretty amazing though. I had never seen a group of off-roaders like that ever, and I really hope I don't ever see that again. But it was absolutely amazing to see.
She touched a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, your wife was.
I was really happy.
Very genuine at that. I mean, genuine and yet very fiercely protective of you guys as well. She was definitely one of a kind and sorely missed.
Yeah. So I was happy the kids got to see all that. That was a pretty amazing the funeral with all the people there. It was truly really cool.
Did you guys have any, you're in the hospital, do you guys have any chats? Or is there any, I mean, I don't know. I always say, do you talk about what ifs at that point? Do you have those chats? Or you just,
you tell me I'm dying, I'm a big wuss. I'm like, fuck, I'm dying, I'm done.
I remember you sent me a text message, and I still have that.
I text you.
You did.
Yeah, I text you telling I'm dying.
You did.
I text Andrew, hey dude, they said I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I remember that text and texting you back and saying, bullshit, don't think like that. I mean.
Yeah, and I had a Mexican priest come in and give me the last rites.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Because Lisa was getting better. I remember you saying that, and then you took a turn for the worse, and you were pretty convinced.
So I couldn't get out of, and I didn't put the robe on. I was in my camo shorts and black EVO or Nitto shirt.
you were going out your way,
sitting in the fuck it. Yeah, I didn't lay in that bed at all. They're like, what? I'm sitting over here. I'm good. And so I had oxygen in my nose at 80% before they put the mask on you, and I couldn't even walk. It was only like 6 feet to the bathroom door, and as soon as I get up, the alarm started sounding. So I would lose my oxygen that fast. So that was like after however many days, that was the chore I had to do, was be able to walk to the bathroom and back with oxygen on and not lose oxygen. So I was supposed to be on the oxygen bottle for 6 months when they let me out with oxygen on. They pushed me out the back door. I have a picture somewhere of a selfie with oxygen in a wheelchair with an oxygen bottle next to me, waiting for Melvin to pick me up.
They were like, "See ya." Oh,
yeah, yeah. Oh, but Lisa was doing better. She had a heart condition called AFib, and that's kind of what took her out.
Yeah, and she was hospitalized a couple months earlier, wasn't she? With like a respiratory and something that she caught. I remember it was like right after Off-Road Expo, I think it was, right?
Yep, she was RCV or something, and then in there she got AFib again, and then that's your heart kind of cavitates. Best way to put it, like a hydraulic pump not pumping fluid. Yep. And they had a shocker to get it back in, and so when she actually had COVID in Texas, they tried that, they couldn't get her back in, and so they wanted to put her out and then put her on an incubator. So they were fearful she was going to have a heart attack, and then they did that, and she didn't make it out.
Oh.
But yeah, as far as having conversations, absolutely, that was a kind of a blessing. We got to have some conversations on if I go, I told her I want her to be happy
Yeah.
and go
I
enjoy
think we
everything.
would all
and this
do
and
with our
that.
significant others, right? I mean,
Yeah. No, I got to physically have that conversation with her, and her exact words were, "You're not expecting me to tell you the same shit, are you?" And then she laughed and said, "Of course, but we're not dying, so don't worry about that."
yeah.
So very, 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 very sad times, and it's a tough one, especially with everything we built.
Yeah.
She had so much to do with. So
Yeah.
it's been a big steep learning curve for me, it's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no easy losing your spouse. I mean, there's for sure. I mean, there's no,
Yeah.
and with the kids and everything. I mean, I lost my dad when I was young, so I know a little bit of the hardship that brings. It's,
Yeah. So we're married 25 years.
yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And
And then,
and
like
I mean, I can remember
Harley and Melvin.
just all the JKXs and a lot of the events and everything that you and I have been blessed to do over the past 10 years. Her always being a staple, always being there, and
Yeah.
I miss her a lot. I miss our
Yeah.
conversations.
Me too. Harley and Melvin have really stepped up. Melvin, my son, and Harley, my daughter, really stepped up and trying to fill the shoes. It's cool to see. Sometimes they'll do something like, man, that was all Lisa. I think to myself and tell that my kids are like, they wouldn't appreciate that from me.
Yeah.
but you can see it. You can see it in them. So I'm really proud of them. They had a really tough. Real hard time,
it takes time friends. And they'll never get over it. Right. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Losing your parents. It's been, I don't even know how old I am now, but it's been 30 plus years, 35 years since I lost my dad. And I just think about him every day. So, I mean, it never goes away. You just, hopefully you can channel it into a positive. Right. So, and I think they're doing that.
I've just been trying to stay busy and focus and going in a direction. Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, one of I think as things progressed, I mean, you and explain Melissa, like, a lot of people don't know. I get asked about it.
Okay.
Right. And so I explained about Melissa and like how she kind of fit in with your family and how she fit in with you guys. And, a lot of people don't know what happened to her kind of happened to you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. She's a really quiet woman. So she probably won't be talking about it, but, she's my sister-in-law, and it sounds horrible, and I'll break this out right away.
No, but explain it. I think there's more. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, there is. Tom, which is Lisa's little brother, passed away 2 months before Lisa passed of COVID.
Yeah.
So Lisa and Tom both passed away. Tom, awesome dude, mechanic, farmer, just kind of jack of all trades, just a good old boy. Got COVID, was mowing the lawn and ended up having convulsions, and then got in the hospital and then passed away. We were out there for that. Very sad. He's just 50.
Wow.
So he passed
really
pretty
makes
early.
You wonder if there's some genetics or something in there, right? That both Lisa and Tom, you can't help but think that a little bit.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. And then Melissa's just always been really nice and quiet, and I probably only talked to her maybe 10 times over the last 25 years. She lived in Missouri. She's just a nice quiet lady that took care of their family, and Lisa thought the world of her, so yeah, it was just we were concerned about what was happening to her, but Tom gone, everything else too. We offered. She didn't want to take anything when that, but that was concern that Lisa had. So anyways, fast forward, we got sick and everything else. Lisa actually got sick when we were over there at they do a annual tractor pull for Tom. He's that much of a staple in the community. They're doing a tractor pull every year. It's kind of cool. But anyway, she got sick there, that RSV, and then 2 months or a month later, we got sick with COVID and passed. Me and Melissa just kind of hit it off. She's very, very soft spoken, and she said we're having a lot of the same issues, problems, hurt.
Yeah,
but opposite.
Yeah,
you know. So I'm looking for where's the can opener, and I got to make food, and what the hell to do laundry. Yeah. I'm dealing with those issues. I've never done that, man. And then and she's dealing with having to have the oil changed on her car, dead battery, and the lawnmower not running. So we started off talking a little. Yeah, to the exact opposites, right?
Yeah.
And so we started off talking and texting there, and hit it off, and it turned into more and more and more. And so, of course, it's tough. My kids weren't too happy about it. They're still not too happy, but everybody's
time heals
past
those.
it.
Time heals.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys had commonality. Like you guys really had this commonality. You both lost your spouses. You both lost your significant others.
And so she, so she was married 25 years to her, 26 years, and married 25 years. It's the same thing, and just opposite. Anyways, I hit her off. She's a lot of fun. She's super quiet. But yeah, she's a good sport, with trying different stuff, and she'd never traveled anywhere, and be able to take her out traveling, and she's a hard worker, saved every penny, small town USA woman, and it's been kind of nice to be able to take her. We're blessed right now, but take her to some of the events and show her around a little bit. It's been nice and rewarding for me, especially.
Yeah.
And so so we got married last month. Pretty cool. Awesome. We were pretty hot and heavy, but we decided to wait a year to help the family get used to it, the idea. So but then, like I said, last month we went ahead and got married, and out here in Arizona.
It was an amazing wedding. I'm very humbled to have been invited, and really enjoyed it. Yvonne, my wife, and Yvonne enjoyed it as well. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you. It was short and sweet, and fried chicken and barbecue, and that's about it.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, you downplay it. It was a pretty fun after party. So
good.
Yeah, you had a DJ and drink. That's all you need. So
that's it, man. It was we wanted to keep it pretty small, and it kind of got a little bigger, but it was nice, and everybody had it. It was a good day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
My mom and dad were able to be there, and one of my older uncles was able to be there, and it was pretty cool. The kids all had a good day. Unfortunately, Melissa's kids couldn't make it out. They just couldn't get off of work, so they'll be coming out in a couple weeks and enjoy out here. But,
nice.
So that on you're caught up on my personal life.
I didn't mean to dig it up. So
people have questions.
It's just one of those things that sometimes it comes up every once in a while. People,
I'm so happy that she didn't live like down the street from me my whole life. I think that might have looked really bad.
Be a little suspect.
1,500 miles away. Yeah, no, and like I said, it was she's just a really like I said, a nice lady.
Yeah.
And it's just I love her, and it's just.
I take it as you guys both come from very common background upbringings, right? And you're both in a sense, like you
more than I thought. Like her dad was a mechanic in the town.
Yeah.
She had her own shop. I didn't know that. So you started talking about that kind of stuff, and that's it. And then like I said, it's kind of cool. A lot of differences too. Like I love to travel. She don't like to travel. So there's that.
Yep.
But yeah, but that's the way stuff goes.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to it, and we're having a good time, and been out here in Arizona. doing some real estate stuff out here,
Yeah.
some houses.
So how's the new? So the old house that you had there in Fort Mojave there, you sold, and then you bought what I call the compound, which is how many acres now is that?
We did 18 acres
18,
right there
yeah.
in town. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
So,
You got the house
the
finished. I built the house. I saw, I got to see it finished there at the wedding. Really, really nice. Very, very well done.
Thank you. Yeah, we took on that from the ground up. I didn't build it, so I can't take credit for it. A lot of good guys did it. I kind of paid to play, see the process, and the local municipals and all that stuff to be able to see how that operates. So we're going to try to do a few more houses out here, a little subdivision, and so that's my 5 to 10 year plan. Is what we're doing on that.
Nice.
We're bringing EVO Manufacturing out here pretty soon, so working on that right now. I got a few buildings. We'll be able to pull them in my own buildings, which is something I've been working for my whole life. Is you lease buildings from other people. It's always tough, and so to be able to pull the companies in underneath my own building is a goal I've been wanting to do. So
that's a big goal.
Pretty cool.
That's a big goal. To own your own commercial real estate and have your own control a little bit of your own destiny like that, because at some point, if you can cash out, you can be the landlord. You can be the.
Yeah, no plans of that right now, but yeah, I want to be the landlord anyway. So it's yeah, it's a lot of different pieces.
Yeah.
Across the board, I love to travel and the marketing and put on the cool events. That's actually what I love to do. And it's just there's only so many hours in the day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it goes by
Can't
fast.
make all the trips, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. Racing, I think we got a couple slated for this year. Mel wants to do Vegas to Reno. We're keeping the Campbell car. I'm going to sell the desert truck.
Nice.
So
nice. Yeah, you bought the Campbell car 2 years ago now? 2 KOHs ago?
Yeah, two KOHs ago.
Yeah, you weren't even fully recovered when you got airway wise.
Yeah,
2 years ago when you got in the car. Yeah, you were still kind of.
Yeah, that was bad.
Still had a bum lung.
Yeah. I'm happy to be. I have to remember that too. That I get caught up in being Mel Wade and pissed off and trying to operate, run all the companies and everything. I really need to sit back and be happy to be breathing. so I kind of get caught up in life, right?
Yeah.
It was.
We all do. You get moving on things, and I think it. I just had this conversation with somebody a little bit ago about the time warp that is COVID, right? And we all say, yeah, it was just like a year or two ago. And you go, oh wait, that was 4 years ago. Right. I mean, the 4-year mark has passed so fast. And it's like this weird time vortex,
Yeah. And it hasn't really recovered.
No.
But a lot of that's politics, and we won't get into politics. Yeah.
So the future for you though.
Don't do it.
No.
Okay.
I'm not. I won't get in. No politics conversation today. The future, and I will say from a politics standpoint, whatever Bullhead and Fort Mojave's doing is working. We should start moving some of that to other regions of the country because. When my wife and I were down there, let's see, it's been 2 months you got married, I think it was.
Yeah.
We were both really impressed with the housing situation, the lots of new homes being built, rather nice homes. Impressed with some of the restaurant situation. Again, I guess my experience with Bullhead is the early 2000s and going to Laughlin and
oh yeah, horrible
racing, and it was just like, man, Bullhead, it was a meth head city, right? I mean, it was
all the meth, all the tweakers,
single wides and tweakers, right? But
yeah,
really,
no, absolutely.
It's had we've been parks along the river, the infrastructure, just really amazing how much that has turned around in such a short period of time. I think from what I remember as going there.
It really has. It's been the last 6 years. We've been coming out here my whole life. And I would say the last 6 years since the exodus in California, the county and the city, the local city, has really been focusing on making the infrastructure better and then just nicer. So they're tearing down all kinds of homes. You know, they want people to be moving in and bringing companies in and stuff like that. So it's been neat. You know, the low rent district. Yeah, that's what we used to call it. Now it's back up, but yeah, everybody goes to Havasu. I really like our location right here. We're closer to Vegas. And
you're
then
an hour and
so
a half or
everything's
so
in
to
out of
Vegas,
Vegas.
aren't you?
Yeah. So yeah, we're close to Vegas, and then still still a run to California, but 4.5 to 5 hours depending on traffic. But
yeah,
I've been enjoying it. Summers are hot, but you kind of swap over to boats or Jeeps with AC.
yeah.
So again, now that we have custom made, the vehicles are so good, you can wheel all year. But it's been pretty good. It's been we've been investing out here, me and Lisa, for the last 6 years. I'm going to say we bought out here first,
Nice.
and then been able to get in Fullerton. They were going to get rid of. I was trying to buy the properties forever, and then
those chats that you were trying to buy the building you were in, right? And then
and they wouldn't sell, and then the old man flopped over, died, and then the kids wanted to sell right away. You like that? He's like, he smile. Anyways, then they wanted to sell, boom, and they wanted a lot. And I was looking at the addresses what we had, and one whole address was just all race cars. So we had race cars and stuff, and I'm like, well, we can pull that somewhere else, right? So we started looking out here. We were able to buy a whole 6,000 square foot warehouse at that time, not no more, but at that time, and it was a tenth of the price of what they were asking.
What if you don't mind me, what was it? What was it? Something like that?
I'm not going to share, but it was cheap.
It was 250 grand, 300 grand, 500 grand, 600. I mean, what
cheaper?
Oh wow.
Yeah, at that time. Now it's not.
Yeah.
And so again, it had that stigma, it had all that stuff, and so there were some deals to be made 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Now again, everything is tripled in price right here.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, so everything's just higher. So anyways, we looked at that. I just got stuff that was too good to throw away, and for the rainy day, and race cars and stuff like that. And so we brought that over and put it in one of the buildings, and then it was one of those good years we had, and Lisa's like, well, what else can we qualify for? And so we had to buy a house out here too. So we had a house, and that my parents have had a house out here since early 2000s.
Oh, so you have a little familiarity with area.
Yeah. So we've been out here constant since 2000, since my parents were out here, and then we used to come out to Laughlin before that when we were dating and everything else. So we've seen it grow up, but it didn't go big until the last 6 years, which is pretty cool. We bought another building over here, owner finance this and that, for a nice old timer.
Nice.
Yeah, and we bought it, had it 1 year, and it was on a dirt road, and I just happened to be at the building, and the old timer was walking down the street. He goes, "Ain't this a bitch? You've had the building 1 year, and they're putting fucking concrete, or they're putting asphalt in." So they asphalted it, and that's pretty cool. But
price just doubled.
A lot of luck, and but trying to get the infrastructure so we can have the compounds on our own property.
Is that the plan? You're going to consolidate over from out of Long Beach, then, and then move everything.
Yeah. That's my plan. It's just been tough. California is very expensive. I love the state. The state's gorgeous. I think it's the prettiest state in the union. Born and raised there.
Yeah.
But it's just tough to be there now.
Yeah.
So it's just it's just a tough one, and we could never get ahead. Whenever we could start making more money, the landlord just raised the rent or the lease or whatever, and so it was always just tough. So
it's the it rolls downhill, right? Because his property taxes are going up, his stuff's going up, so he just shovels it along to the tenant. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's where we weren't able to afford over there, and so we've been able to afford over here, so we'll be bringing it over.
Awesome. So what's next for you this year? What do you got planned this year?
Next week or 2 weeks, we got Jeep Experience in Texas. We ran out off-road park in Mason, Texas.
Awesome event, a lot of fun. Done that one before
yeah.
with you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And then we'll be doing we have Jeep Beach.
Not Jeep Beach.
In Long Beach.
Long Beach. Jeep Beach.
Yeah.
Jeep Bash. Jeep Bash.
Jeep Bash. Sorry. We have Jeep Bash over Bolsa Chica Beach in September. So that one's a great event. We're trying to get like closer to 800, 900 Jeeps there this year. So we'll be banging the drum on that
nice.
one. The state likes it. They're happy with us. So we need to start cranking up that one.
Nice.
We're going to be running the East Coast down from Georgia, North Carolina area down to Key West on
that'll be fun.
On the hot rod tour. So that'll be kind of fun. American Road Tour. Yeah. Looking forward to that one. And then we're doing a Texas run. So I love Texas. People, they're awesome. I love it there. So we're going to be doing 7 days in Texas and barbecue and off road.
Oh,
so we hitting the badass spots, touring around. We got a lot of co-branding shops and other people in the industry out there. So we'll make some visits and showcase how well everything wheels. That's one thing that we've been pushing the whole time is on the off-road stuff. And thank you, Chris and Nitto on the JKXs and their experiences. Well, I'll be able to showcase that the vehicle can actually drive well on the road and off-road and take it back, not just a trailer vehicle, which there's nothing wrong with that. But to be able to showcase a vehicle, a platform, whether it's a Bronco or a Jeep or a Ram or whatever.
I'd say,
be able to get there.
That's the fun, right? I mean, you and I've joked about this before, having done the Ultimate Adventures together, the early years of Ultimate Adventure, right? The
M37
the Death March to get somewhere, and then the camp in the rain, and then get up in the rain and get going and doing it again. Like, there is something to be said for the format of your of the JKXs, of some good hard fun wheeling. Sure, pull cable, get muddy, get dirty, but get to the hotel to get a shower, have a nice steak dinner, and do it again the next day, right? Or travel to see some sights or do something. But your format of that, I've really appreciated over the years. And I think others have appreciated it as well.
No death march.
No, I mean,
some days you have long days.
There's a time and a place, but for the death march. But yeah, and a death march, you still can march us 700 miles in a day.
500 miles. Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, but we're not having to camp that night, right?
Yeah. But it is 700 miles, and I have enjoyed over the years our trips, to the Arctic Ocean. We've done the Alaska a couple of times. I've been very blessed to spend time traveling around the country with you, and supporting our brand. And it's been very enjoyable and learned a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate all the support and you coming out and actually enjoying it. And there's different companies that actually get it, and you and Nitto you guys are enthusiasts.
Yeah,
and it shows.
I think it's the feedback. It comes across. Though we get the feedback. I think when you're, you don't get the feedback while you're doing it. The feedback comes maybe 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, when somebody stumbles in the booth and says, hey, I saw you guys were out doing this trip to the, Mount Rushmore, or you guys were doing this trip in Texas, or you guys were, hey, my buddy was on that, and so you get a little bit of that feedback. And I think that accounts for a lot. And I'm still kind of old school on the tough tire thing. Like, what's tougher than doing 7 days of airing down to 10 PSI, wheeling, airing back up and running, putting in 400 miles and then doing it again the next day and then rinse and repeat, right? I mean, that is still old school tough tire stuff.
Tough tire stuff, and it's almost being taken for granted anymore. The tire's so good. It's like I'm so spoiled now. I'm kind of the opposite way. It's like, I have to air up.
Yeah.
I keep the Jeep aired down all the time because I'll just jump in and go hit some dirt and everything else. And so I'm like, oh, I got to air up to go somewhere.
Yeah,
But I always keep.
I can remember my Panic, one of our first. I don't remember what it was. It may have been Ultimate Venture or JKX or something. And we'd hit the road and everybody was like at 10 psi, and everybody's like, we gotta air up. Everybody was panicking, like and it's like it'll be all right. I mean, we'll get there. It's not. We're not cooking tire. We're not going that far, type of thing. So
that's amazing, and that's a testament because I've cooked tires in other brands.
Yeah,
air down that low. So they seem to work.
Yeah, and you have a little insight into how they're manufactured. I mean, you've been able to go to Japan and see the K-spec end of things and see how that's done, and you've got
that's such a cool experience.
Knowledge in the space, I think some than most, of how our brand is a little bit different than others. So yeah. Good.
No, it's a great brand. I've been with Nitto now. I think all we had was a dune grappler and a mud grappler on the truck side.
Yeah,
and
the dune.
It was it was pretty cool.
Hey, I have a theory that flame tires are going to come back. I've seen everything come back. I'm thinking we could bring the flame tire back. I think that's the kids would dig it. Like, right? It's like bringing a records cool. back. So, and oddly enough, mud grappler is probably more popular now than it ever's been. So we
you want to talk about a tough tire.
Yeah.
It's a loud tire. People like that though.
Yeah.
But as far as a tough tire, that sidewall carcass on the top,
it is completely overbuilt. Completely overbuilt.
It's crazy.
I try to explain that to people, like, I get it's old, and it's been around forever. But I would say in this day and age, it is the most overbuilt MT sidewall you'll ever run into. It'll never be done again, right? I mean, it's just it's too heavy, too overbuilt. Because at that time they were so worried about sidewall punctures, right? I mean, if you think back to when they were developing
because all the competitors, you looked at the sidewall poked a hole through it.
Yeah, I mean,
so it you guys made a stronger tire. Yeah, so you guys filled it, and now you guys can pull weight out of it and still keep it strong. But that tire's massively strong. I think I only took one out, and it was we were running up a trail by Silverton. Me and Melvin were pre-running a JKX. We're running fast in EVO 1, and I came around kind of a weird blind corner. We were at elevation, and I hit this rock. It had to have been that big, and it took out the tire and the wheel.
Yeah.
Which, tire change. But we were like at 10,000 feet, man. Me and Melvin were huffing and puffing trying to change the tire out there. I remember that tire change. Like, oh. but I took the wheel. We took everything out. We hit that thing hard. We're looking to break off a steering knuckle. It's just a strong tire.
Man, no, I mean, I've always been impressed. I mean, I remember we ran, I think you had them on when we ran the M37 on Ultimate Adventure. I feel like
it probably did.
I feel like it had muds on it because we didn't have any trails in stock. So I think it was one of those didn't have any, but yeah, I mean, grossly, it's super loud, super obnoxious. But yet, again, there's this next generation of kids that are kind of coming up. I mean, if you think about it, in the space, so we've been doing it 20, 30 years. Now you look at these, some of these younger guys that are coming up that, maybe they were 15, 10 years ago. Now they're 25, 26, and they're getting into the sport and the industry. And it is good value. I mean, the mud grappler still today for what it is next to some of the others in this space, it's good value. It's aggressive. It's, it's loud, it's tough as nails, and it wears well.
Funny thing is, and I always sound like a smartass when I say it, and it's a round tire, and I can mount that mud grab. I wouldn't have a doubt. I can mount a 40-inch mud grappler on a KMC wheel right now and run 100 miles an hour down the road, and it'd be balanced.
I tell guys that all
with
the time.
No weights on it,
and they and I get tagged in a lot of posts with that as well. But I tell guys all the time that there is a fundamental difference in how that tire is built and the brand is built, so to speak, because it is, you see it when the competitors' brands, they get mounted on a KMC, they get put on the machine. I mean, there was a post I was tagged in recently, and it was equal KMCs, equal 4017s, brand A, not our brand, took like 14 ounces of weight. Our brand, or Nitto's brand, I should say, was 0.05, right? 0.05
nothing, huh?
on a 40 in a KMC, on a beadlock, nonetheless. And I don't even know that's possible, really, but but it is like it does happen. Like it's a very uniform tire that gets produced out of the out of White Georgia here in the States, and then of course Sendai, Japan. So yeah, a lot of people don't believe it, but yeah, it does make a difference, especially airing up, air down, wheel, rinse, repeat, do it again. Like it just seems to perform well. So yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, I appreciate your support on the brand over the years. I think it's been
I've been so blessed with brand partners, and some are turn and burn. You'll see that you'll get a person in, and they're just like kind of grabbing all the people, and then they're out. Nitto has not been that way. It seems like enthusiasts, personal relationship, to be able to know the top people. It's just amazing, and they know the kids, and they know Lisa, and everything that's going on. Is humbling to be part of a family like that. King's been the same way, sort of that thing where you kind of grow up. So it's like not and the off-road industry, to tell you the truth, a lot of it is that way. I got with hardship, you get to kind of see who was good. Or really caring, or showed they care.
I would agree.
Then some people,
I would agree.
And some people you thought should have, and they're not. So it can go both ways. Kind of like, oh shit, okay. But it was pretty amazing.
I would say the off-road in the Jeep community, like Jeep has been very kind to me for 30 years, right? I mean, I was a Volkswagen guy early on, and then got in the Jeep space, and it's been an amazing community. Right. I mean,
it's a community, and it's even all the way up to the guys at Jeep. We've been able to work our way in the industry, and to be able to call these guys my friends, and I've had them at the house and barbecue and stuff, and now they're all elevated. It's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. And then it's kind of the same way with some people in the industry too. They maybe go here, go there. I've not. You're still on my phone as the Light Force guy, just so you know.
Oh man, you're getting me there. Yeah, 2008, 2009. The only reason I ended up at Light Force was I sat next to a guy named Mike Webster at Dirt Sports Magazine. So they were Light Force as an Australia brand, had a little teeny distribution up there in Orofino, Idaho. And they were they had the optics, which was the scopes that they had kind of launched into. And they had the lighting, which was huge in Australia, but kind of small here. They had a little toe in the water with some Rod Hall sponsorship at the time. And the marketing director and owner at the time, I was working for Dirt Sports Magazine, Advanced Star. I sat next to the VP of VP of operations or something of Advanced Star. His name is Mike Webster. He sat next to an office next to me on the left. And I overheard, as the economy is crashing in 2008 and advertisers are freaking out and they're starting to pull budget, I could hear these conversations in Mike's office about concern and, I felt like he was under the gun, right? There was just a lot of concern on the economy. And Light Force was exact opposite. They were doing great. They were flush with cash in Australia, and, they were looking to grow. And I'd become friends with a guy named Peter Culley, and Peter was an amazing marketer, and still, he's not at Light Force anymore. But yeah, he was just an amazing marketer and a mentor at the time, listening to him and his ideas, and we would bounce ideas off of each other. And he said, I think you should come work for us. And so it was this listening to Mike next door, Light Force offering to take over their North America distribution. And I jumped at it. I said, yeah, sure. Let's do it. And you and Peter, as I recall, it started, and Orofino, like you guys had started to embark on the Land Cruiser project, right? That same time frame was like,
yeah. Yep.
Oh,
I did 2007, I think. I got that project, the brand new 200 series Land Cruiser I built for Toyota.
Yep.
Like I said, a lot of people don't think of Overland. I built a lot of vehicles behind the scenes,
yeah.
and that one, I think we put your lights on there. I made a roof rack and the barbecue thing in the back and the whole Overland spread back. That was 2007 SEMA for Toyota. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Overland's funny for me because
That's probably
right. Because you look back at 2007, Overland still existed, right? I mean, it was just,
I messed up. I should have had a charcuterie board and I messed up, man, but I've learned now. I've learned.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny in a sense to look back at the, I remember bringing in from Light Force. I joined TJM, and I remember bringing in a 40-foot container of rooftop tents, right? And I think we were next. ARB was just starting to like dabble, bring them in, but not container at a time. And I think we'd beat Schmitty built and all the others bringing them in. But you look back at that, there was still a lot of Overland talk even back then. You had Overland Journal magazine. It was like it's gone through these 10-year cycles of being the hot ticket. And then, and I think it just accelerated crazy during COVID, right? From 2000 on.
I think so too.
Everybody had a rooftop tent. Everybody bought a Sprinter. Everybody, went down this route of camping and you see it in all the numbers. Doesn't matter if it's Coleman Tents or Winnebago or, all the widgets in between. Like everybody's sales numbers went crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been around forever. It's a way of life in Australia, right? I mean, you gotta have a snorkel to get home because they don't have overpasses, and you gotta have your camp.
TJM sent some engineers and stuff over from Australia when I had that rig. We did a carbon fiber snorkel.
Yeah.
I think we did the rooftop tent on that. That was all TGM. Yeah. Dan Mick.
I think.
Yeah.
Dan is still around.
Yeah.
Dan's still around.
There they go.
I believe he is still with TJM. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's a small industry.
Mickey, he's still with them. A lot of the guys are still there. I still talk to a few of them at TJM. So,
they're nice people.
They're bought and sold and chopped and blocked and back and forth. But there's still a couple of the originals there. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
I think next year I did the Toyota, the SUV one for off-road or four-wheeler magazine for Sean Holman. I did it for the Toyota booth also, overland vehicle.
Yeah.
We've been doing a little bit of everything.
You had a streak there where you're doing quite a bit. Yeah, you had a streak where you're doing quite a bit of those builds and those vehicles for SEMA, back when SEMA was that was the
back when it was a big deal.
Right?
Right now, I think it's kind of dying off. It's just.
What's your take on that? What's your take on shows? Do you see the same value when you go do a show or event, or is it, I mean, it's changed a lot past 10 years.
I don't know. It's just it's a tough one to put your finger on. It's hard to keep you want to keep does it move the needle? I don't really see the needle moves on much stuff. You get some feedback, get to shake hands and talk and take some criticism or positives, which I think is always a benefit.
Yeah.
But as far as how much some of the shows cost, are grassroots ones better versus the big ones with social media now? Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to say. We didn't do SEMA this year. We did SEMA last year or the past year.
Yeah, remember that.
We'll probably do it again this coming year. We've been doing it every other year now.
Yeah,
the last couple of years.
I think for a lot of companies, say you do international, I think that makes a big difference, right? You have distributors in a sense around the world. So I think that is
that's what SEMA is good for. To be able to shake hands with them, whether
agreed. It's a central meeting point. I think for a lot of us, or a lot of companies that only sell to North America, right? We're only here. We're not, not necessarily a more global brand, or our business model revolves around here. It can get a little stale from year to year, to do SEMA.
Gotcha.
So, but if you got some international business and you've got, it gives you the chance to shake hands and catch up with your customer base and, consumers and everything else. So I don't think it's necessarily,
Yeah.
bad.
It's always fun. It's just you gotta weigh the cost for it, and
Mm.
this and that. So, like I said, this year we'll go to it.
Nice.
But I want to hit the Smoky Mountain Invasion for the Jeep stuff. I want to hit that this year.
You should.
So,
You should.
Yeah.
I mean, I just haven't
That's on the
just
list.
come from Jeep Beach, which I would say was a successful event. I believe they had 6,800 registered Jeeps and
Awesome.
maybe 15,000 total that came into the kind of show in the show and shine type area. So, still a really good event, destination point for sure, right? Being in Daytona, you get the, and Jeep Beach is an organization. They do a really good job, I think, of, creating that destination point. They've got
The parties all week.
party happening, and there's a concert night, and there's a, meet and greet night and a show and shine night. And, so always something to do. And the owner is different there, right? The owner in that region is, I would say, different than a lot of us in the PNW or, Southwest. And
that's more of like a real, like a Harley event.
I would agree with you.
That's what
I would agree.
like a bike week. That's what it reminds me of.
I would agree with you. The owners, I mean, we had those conversations this last week. There's a lot of customers say, look, I just love the look. I don't really care about it. It's never going to go off road. It's never going to hit dirt. Like
there's nothing wrong with that.
Almost like this, I've never put it in 4-wheel drive. I mean, they're embarrassed.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people, and there's no right or wrong.
No.
Everybody wants something.
That's what's great about the Jeep community, right? I mean, we've had that chat before, but I'd say Jeep Beach really embodies what the Jeep overall customer is. I mean, sometimes with Jeep commercials, I think we get a little caught up in some of the style and likeness of their commercials. That that's not Jeeping or wheeling or to.
Oh, you're talking TV commercials?
Yeah, like Jeep's TV commercials and who they target. But all you need to do is go to Jeep Beach.
Who they've targeted the last couple of years? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, like it's not. They're not targeting me, that's for sure. They're not targeting Mel Wade.
Yeah.
But they're targeting a younger demographic. They're targeting a lifestyle end of things. And when you go to Jeep Beach, you see it. It's not about wheeling at all. It's about taking the doors off, having the top off, turning up the tunes and enjoying life. And that's really the takeaway that I get from, Jeep Beach. So, which I'm all about. Enjoy life.
Like that. Yeah. I'm with you. And that's very much, like I've been doing a lot of the biker rallies and bike weeks and all that stuff. And it's very, very much the same. There's something to do every day. Yeah. You're showing off your Harley or Jeep. And that's what you're doing. And that works. Yeah. It works. There's a destination spot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So now we again need to get Jeep Bash on that West Coast curvature to get 5,000 Jeeps out there.
I would yeah. I think it could be done. Working with the county and we working with the city and the state and the cops is always tough.
Yeah.
Like we had a traffic jam there all the way to the 405 freeway the first year. Yeah. And it's like, and then Long Beach used to have us walk it in, walk it out. But making it a multiple event, we do have some friends, like we're in the Long Beach Pier, stuff like that. So we could have different parties, different nights. Yep. So that is something we could add more. But trying to get 5,000 people, it would need to be in a stadium like that. And then you're talking to Fontana or something. Yeah. Not necessarily on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's an awesome event. Awesome event. And I'd say it doesn't feel small when you're there because all the parking lots are packed. No. I mean, everything's got the right vibe. You've got the the bar and the restaurant there and the band playing, and like it's a really, really good time. So I know I talked to a couple of vendors out there when I was at Jeep Beach and we were talking about it. They were going to come out this year. So yeah, really, really good vibe. And
cool.
You guys do a good job at that. Enjoy it a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. Harley, Melvin, and Teresa really, really help out with those. And like I said, the lady that runs the state parks right there is pretty awesome. I've been dealing with her for a while. Like I said, it's a good venue. Bolsa Chica Beach is pretty cool. And we can scale it too. we can go like 3 more parking lots over. It's just, they can even do, we can even do off-road and stuff there if we wanted to truck the sand in and do like Roland Sand does for his event and Red Bull does. But yeah, it's just a matter of how big we want to make it. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Well,
and thank you guys for
no, easy. Not one of my getting to the end here. I've kept you on here, man, almost 2 hours. It seems like it just flew by. But give me your mentor in life. Who's somebody in life that you really mentored you and that you looked up to and kind of got you?
My dad, and he's still around right now. He's a little sick right now, but my dad, I really looked at my dad. My dad, I could always bounce something off of him. And towards this later stage, this last 10 years, he's like, go with your gut. You're the only one. What do you think? Do you think it's right or wrong? Go for it. So that's been helping out. Robbie Pierce was a big mentor. He passed away last year.
Yeah.
So that was a tough loss. That guy was pretty cool. If you don't know, Mastercraft, Impact Safety.
Yeah.
Jimco, just all around off-roader. He was a blue collar welder.
Yeah.
Started from scratch, worked his way up. Pretty cool. And he was somebody that's already been through the growing pains or starting from the bottom up. And so he was somebody I could bounce ideas and questions off of.
Yeah.
I talk to you a lot. You're a good friend and mentor.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's nice to be able to bounce stuff off.
Creative editing will take care of that.
Okay, good. Yeah. Let me see. Got some friends and mutual customers, so we're fortunate with the kind of customer base we've created and we got. There's a lot smarter business people than me out there, and I like to take. I'll ask questions and I like to learn ideas and so there's a lot of different people out there that have helped me here. It's hard to put a point on it where you can't just call up.
Yeah.
But like I said, Robbie helped me out a lot. That was really a big loss for me. Sounds selfish, but he really helped me out from across the board, from people doing accounting to how to treat employees and how to do this, how to keep everything moving. It's a tough loss without him.
Yeah.
And then
I think everybody needs that kind of business mentor, somebody just to bounce some of that stuff off, right? Because that have been there. Yeah, and have a little bit of that experience and just be able to run it by them and go, what do you think? I mean, just because there's no book for dummies on it, right? I mean, especially if you're a small business or young business trying to learn something or trying to, do I spend the money and make that investment? Do I not spend the money and make that investment? Everything from hiring and firing employees to, branding, marketing, again, having somebody in your life that you can bounce that stuff off, I think is key to success. I think everybody, I know I've been blessed with it and learned, right? You learn, you're naive to think you know everything. You learn something new every day. And then when you're younger,
you need to learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I mean, you're a sponge when you're younger,
Yeah. But I think we even in our age, we should be learning something every day. And if we're not, we're wasting a day. But we're been blessed, man. That's all I can say is we've got a great crew around. I have some wonderful kids. They're really putting in the time and effort right now. So proud of them. Harley's with me out here at the shop all the time, so she has to deal with me 24 hours a day, pretty much. Melvin gets a little bit of a break, but he's on the EVO side, so he's our tech guy. He's the one that has to or gets to deal with every shop. Anybody has a concern,
answering all the calls, man.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of good feedback too.
That's awesome.
So from shop owners and stuff like that. So I've been pretty happy. He's smart enough that if he doesn't know the question he'll say you don't know the question, and he'll find the answer for the question.
Nice.
That's a tough skill to learn.
Yeah.
But been blessed with a good crew. Got a good crew over in Long Beach. Yeah, Andrew, David.
Yeah.
Yes, good crew around.
Yeah,
So it's
always
like I said, the
always
last
good
couple.
to surround yourself with good people, and I'm very blessed, Mel, to have been able to get to know you over the man, I guess almost approaching 20 years now.
Don't date ourselves.
Um,
I turned
very
50. I
very
turned 50
blessed.
this
I've
month. It's been tough.
always found you to be very genuine, very straightforward, a little ornery, sometimes a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
but you're pain in the ass with conviction. I know why. And I really appreciate that in you. I really appreciate our relationship and our time that we spend together chatting about all kinds of things. And and taking the 2 hours tonight to have this chat.
I'm happy you're doing this podcast, especially with our little niche, and hopefully it goes bigger above our our industry. But I think there's a lot of good stories out there that should be documented.
Agreed. And that's why I'm doing it. The fundamentals, I think, are the same in all the businesses and everything that's going on. And I think that even some of the guests that I've had on recently and chatted with, even outside the industry, right? Not in off-road at all, but there's a commonality. There's some stuff there that maybe we're too old to learn new tricks, but maybe we can put some of those tricks into our kids, right?
Yeah.
And instill some of those fundamentals. Cause I do think that there's a lot of us that I've run into off-road, non-off-road, that have common threads or common things that have gotten us, along. And again, I feel very blessed to have been able to be in the kind of this strange Jeep and off-road world for as long as I have.
It's a language. So I would have never thought I'd been able to travel the world and have customers everywhere on every continent. The automotive language is a universal language. It doesn't matter if you're Arabic, if you're Chinese, South Korean, Mexican, Brazilian. It's a universal language. Whether you're talking about a Ferrari or a Jeep. If you're a car guy or gal, you're a car guy or gal, and that's a commonality. And I hope that stays around a long time. It's kind of getting diluted a little bit, but if you have that interest, I would have never thought, being from Long Beach, where we were born and raised, to be able to travel and
a kid from Compton playing with Jeeps.
Yeah, good old stompers.
Boy, stompers were king. And when I was a kid, I can remember I used to bring them to grade school, and we had a playground with wood chips, and I would make a little stomper, track in the wood chips when I was
the early narrow tire stompers or the second generation.
Narrow tire, the narrow foams, right? The first generation, they were I can remember having those as kids. So many things as kids, that we were lucky to, I think, to have and shape a little bit of maybe that automotive influence. For me, it was my dad. My dad was the influence. His hobby was going to the abandoned auto auctions and buying cars. And that was that was before you kind of had, kind of maybe what they refer to the Russians coming in, or, some of the others that would come in and buy cars. And so, he made friends with the auctioneer. He knew the towing yards. He knew all the right people. He got the kind of preferential, hey, this is coming up on Saturday. So as a kid, I traveled to all the abandoned auto auctions, and my dad bought cars and sold cars as a hobby.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of taught me early on that, okay, I could, buy some for $1,000, put a polish on it, get it running good, and turn it for $2,500 and double my money.
Double your money.
Thing. Yep. And so, it was a lot of that as a kid that I ended up doing. I mean, I can't even, probably you can't even count on that on 10 hands how many cars I bought and sold over the years. Because it just
apparently Lisa has a list of how many cars I have right now. That was so funny. Lisa, when she passed away, we had to go through all the paperwork, and Harley's like, what's this? And she was keeping tally. It was I think there's 30 vehicles I have right now. So it's But
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, buying and selling. I have a hard time with getting rid of stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll go get rid of it a little bit, and I kind of just end up keeping it. You get emotionally attached to the different vehicles.
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
M37 has given us nothing but grief, and it's one of my favorite cars ever.
I still will never forget the night where it tried to kill us.
I know.
So.
And the next morning, the guys in the auto parts store, you're living a dream, So it's just
I know,
fun
camping
stuff.
in a parking lot in the middle of, I don't even know where, Oklahoma or somewhere. Or, I don't remember where we were, but I remember when that bearing locked up, or,
Yep.
I guess what would have happened with the bearing came apart or locked up,
Front
but
wheel
it also
bearing.
kind of slid off and it hit the brake caliper, right? So it was like a 1-2 punch that locked it up, and we kind of did the overcorrection off into the ditch thing. And I just remember looking, going, oh, we're dying.
Yeah, it locked up basically like a nose wheelie and then broke loose and swerved. And then we had to cut it off with a cutoff wheel in the parking lot and slept in I think it was Illinois.
Clifton Slay and was there, came by with man,
Trent McGee was there.
Trent. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Trent. Yeah, that was we that was the first year that the tent cot thing had really hit the market, right?
Yeah.
So everybody had those fancy tent cots,
Yep.
which were kind of small and uncomfortable, but we all did it. So we wedged in like some sort of mini mart parking lot thing in the back there and camped, and it was a ton of fun. But the M37 had one. Yeah, try to pull one on us.
Yeah,
that trip.
Those trips, it's like, and that's the thing about off-roading and even everything you kind of do. It's when you have to overcome and do something, you end up remember those trips a lot more. So it's like the ones that go really easy is kind of, I'm bad, but I'll start to forget them. But the ones that you had to go,
you always remember.
You remember those forever.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on, Chris. I really appreciate it. I hope it does really well for you.
I can't thank you enough. Once again, Mel Wade from EVO Manufacturing and Off-Road Evolution. Mel, I can't thank you enough. Again, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you for the past 2.5 hours now.
Sorry.
And we'll do it again. I promise we'll do it again.
Okay.
We got to come back on. I need to, you're always a wealth of information. We didn't even touch on a lot of, kind of Jeep stuff per se, but always a wealth of information. Cool. So maybe as we get into some of the new Jeep stuff coming down the line, possibly in a year or two, we'll
absolutely, man.
We'll circle back. But I appreciate it. I'm glad everything's going well.
Thank you.
I'm glad everything's on the right track.
Yeah.
And we'll catch up again.
Thank you,
sir. Catch up again. Say hi to the family.
Okay. Bye.
Alrighty. Thanks, Mel.
Okay.